From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NIntenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week in NIntenDomain, Nintendo stock rises as everybody looks forward to the successor of the Switch.
Switch to? More like, what would I switch to? I like my Switch.
I got a huge update.
Think about the future.
Gets a new huge update.
Hopefully you have enough memory.
Welcome to NIntenDomain Podcast, episode 404, our first official episode of the year 2024.
It's true.
Since our last episode was the best of stuff, Nintendo news, and what there is out there for us for the rest of this year, or whatever in the next months or so. We are your hosts. I'm Trey, still recovering from 2023. Johnson.
I'm Jeremy. Is this going to be the year of epic quests? I know January is, at least. Mikowski.
I'm John. Too much stuff. Knitter.
Epic quests and too much stuff. Yeah, John has had a whole bunch of stuff on the list from last week that we didn't talk about.
Well,
so
yeah, because I was gone for.
You were gone for like 3
4
episodes
weeks
too, yeah.
And then when I came back, it was our Game of the Year episode, so no time to talk about the stuff we got and everything. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so why don't we start off the show as we normally do and talk about games that we got and games that we've been playing. And John, you can go ahead and start there because you haven't really said anything since, or well, whatever. You didn't talk about what you did in the 3 weeks while you're gone or whatever. So
yeah,
you can do that.
So I was off making a movie, and the movie's called Senior Moments, and it's based on my experience, inspired by my experience working at a senior home. And so I'll save all the details for later when the movie comes out. Should be coming out next Christmas. But I just wanted to mention that I did put a lot of gaming stuff in the movie. So it's relevant to this podcast. I got Zelda references and such things all throughout. They have a couple of scenes of people playing video games. And I mean, it's inspired by my real life, and the main character is, it's inspired by me and all that stuff. So yeah, there's some gaming stuff in there. So look forward to that whenever the movie comes out. Should be next year sometime, around Christmas.
You mean this year sometime, right?
This year, yes, you're right.
2025
right.
Christmas.
2024.
Or 2024
Christmas.
Yes.
Yep.
It is 2024. Yeah. I had to remember that whenever I was labeling my files last week.
So yeah, that's why I was gone all those weeks. But other stuff. So I went to two very different arcades in the last couple of weeks. I went to Dave & Buster's, which I don't know if anybody's been to Dave & Buster's recently. It's kind of a sad state of affairs.
I thought they were all gone, actually. I thought they had all closed. I guess it wasn't a Dave & Buster's. There was a place in, where is it? The streets of Woodwood. I forget what town that is. It's some suburb. There's this like a theater that we used to go to called Streets of Woodfield, and there's like a big GameWorks. It was GameWorks. There's a GameWorks over there, which looks like Dave & Buster's, and that place is gone. Like, it's completely closed and gone. And it was a really big
GameWorks shut down
video game place that Conan and I went there a couple times for my birthday, and they had a bunch of big video games. And yeah, it's completely done for. It's like right next to Legoland. I think Legoland's still there though. But yeah, there's that one. But I haven't seen a Dave & Buster's in years, so I don't know.
No, they're still around. This is the one in Livonia, Michigan. And yeah. I mean, it's not what you'd expect when you hear the word arcade. Like, they had no classic games whatsoever. Like, none of the old machines, and that's really sad. I wish they would have at least kept a corner of just like classic staple arcade games, but they don't have any of those. What they did have was a bunch of like phone games that are made into arcade machines, like Flappy Bird and all that kind of stuff. Now, there were a select few gems in there. Like, they had Mario Kart, They had the first Mario Kart Arcade GP DX. They had I can't call this a gem, but it's a Nintendo game regardless. It's the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, which I never played the arcade version of that.
No, I didn't even know there was one.
There is one. It's very simple. There's like 3 buttons on a panel, and you just like slap the buttons, and then there's some jumping involved once in a while. It's not very fun, but I tried it just to check the box.
Can you curl? Can you play curling on there? Because that's the only. Is it Winter Olympics or is it regular Olympics?
It's regular Olympics.
Oh, okay.
I think
That's the one. That's the only
maybe
thing.
It's all of them.
That's the only thing I want to play in video game form is curling because I think it's just a hilarious sport. It involves bowling and sweeping together.
Yeah, I don't know. Sweeping probably would have been more fun than playing this game.
Yeah.
Then they had a bunch of the Raw Thrills games, which are the best games, unsurprisingly, at the whole place. So they did have Cruise and Blast. That was fun to play in the arcade. I don't think I've ever played the arcade version of that one before. Then they have a bunch of like they had like the Giant Pac-Man and the Giant Space Invaders. Those are really cool. Those are both Raw Thrills games as well. Those are kind of like sensory overload. I don't know if you ever played the Giant Pac-Man or Space Invaders. Any of you? Yeah,
I've played the Giant Pac-Man. It's sensory overload for sure. It feels like you're in like the Nintendo commercial that Paul Rudd was in.
you're right. That's exactly the feeling because the pixels are huge. The pixels are they're like almost like little light bulbs or something, and it's probably about 10 feet tall or so. It's pretty huge and overwhelming and a lot of fun. The Space Invaders one was cool too because it's just a gun that you aim like if you have a physical like almost like a cannon or something. And you have to tilt it to aim, and then it was really fun, especially to play with my nephew. We got a kick out of that. And the rest of them, I don't know, just not really great. So that's the story on Dave & Buster's. Don't go. It's not worth it.
Went to Dave & Buster's. Don't go. It's like, is it still open? Yes, but don't go.
Yeah, it's sad. On the flip side,
I mean, I never really thought it was cool when it was like in its prime or whatever. It didn't really have a whole lot of like, it didn't have like the arcade games that we grew up with really. It was like all this other like, I don't know, ticket shit, where you get, I don't know, more like you said, kind of giant mobile games, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Not really. You're not going to see like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or like House of the Dead or anything like that there.
I went to Dave & Buster's when it first came out, like on a nationwide rollout, and it was like the big thing to do around here, and it was awesome at the time. They had the Star Wars arcade, and they had, I mean, there wasn't such a thing as mobile games. So there was no like mobile game type things. It was all just like actual arcade machines, and then they had a couple of actually sort of adventurous type things that were like peeking into the future, like some rudimentary VR and exciting things that you couldn't do at home. So at the time, it was awesome, like late 90s, but it just kind of never really evolved from there. And what thankfully took up the mantle of best arcade in the universe is the other place that I went to. I went to Galloping Ghost last week, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks now. After the movie was over, I actually ended up going back to Chicago just for 2 days to visit some friends. And it was fun. Me and Eric and Otis met up at Galloping Ghost, spent the day there for a good afternoon, played a bunch of different games. We beat the Simpsons arcade, we beat the X-Men arcade, and it was just cool to like show those guys Galloping Ghost for the first time. They were both pretty taken aback by it. So I tried to explain to them like that's the world's biggest arcade. They both agreed like you can't explain that place. We've talked about it so much on this show, but you really can't explain that place, and you have to just go see it for yourself if you haven't seen it already. So we had a lot of fun there, and so I bought a bunch of stuff because there were a bunch of sales, and I took advantage. So sort of out of the box, unexpected game that I got was Baldur's Gate 3.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that was our that was part of our like secretive Patreon version from last week.
That.
I kept it. That's what you get at the $5 level. You get that like mid-show 15-20 minute banter or whatever, and that was, we talked about Baldur's Gate 3. Yet I still don't believe you that you have it. Have you played it since you said you bought it last time?
No, I've not played it anymore.
Yeah, so I was right on that.
But I'm having trouble with it. I think because I don't know. I wonder if I'm just pushing the limits on what my computer can do. It says it requires the M1 chip, which I have the.
You don't have the M1. Okay.
Oh. No, I have the generation before, so it was kind of bugging out a little bit, and it crashed at one point.
I mean, the game's kind of buggy regardless of, from what I heard. So, I'm sure it's better on, depending on which system you're playing on. But I heard on PC there was a lot of trouble with it.
I've run into some bugs myself.
I heard the multiplayer was real bad. Like, what was it? Reb Valentine on NVC was saying that she was losing like hours and hours of gameplay because it was crashing on multiplayer.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, she said it was unworthy of Game of the Year because of how badly it performed when she played it. So, but
The other complication, I was streaming it to my TV. My sister brought up the point, why don't you not stream it and just play it on the computer? So I have yet to give that a try without streaming. So maybe
that might work better.
Yeah.
I've had the same thing when I've tried to stream games for I could run Steam just fine, most games off Steam on my laptop, but when I try to put it in through the HDMI cord, it gets fucked up. The frame rate suffers and it has weird aliasing issues.
Well, you're probably doing it wirelessly too, which would make it even more complicated. Yeah. Like I would never do it like that because you're going to get extra lag on top of whatever lag you already have. I would never, I don't know, mirror it or airdrop it or whatever, like that sort of thing. But I don't really play any games on my computer. But I don't
play games on my computer either. I had the feeling that this is going to end up with me getting like an actual gaming keyboard and mouse and all that stuff. All I got is my laptop and playing on a cramped, small laptop keyboard. It's not so fun. No. And you can play on the controller, but I know that a game like that you really want a keyboard and mouse and all that stuff. So I might end up doing that just for this game.
But it works fine on the PlayStation 5 with the controller, but it might be a little easier with the keyboard. I don't know.
Depends on how much you're typing, right? If you're trying to.
There's no typing, but
I mean, I guess if you're doing co-op, maybe, or no, I guess you would
maybe
doing
the way
voice,
it deals with it has like rotary menus, and maybe they're easier to navigate with a keyboard and a mouse than a controller. I don't know.
Well, it seems like even the PC version has a lot of controller support, so I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try. We'll see. Actually, I promised my sister I would play it today, so I've got to play it before the day's over. Huh. She really wants me to dive in. She keeps asking me, "Have you played Baldur's Gate 3? Have you played it? Have you played it?" So I've got to play it so I can give her an update.
There's a lot of people, that got into that game that have gamed for years. I've heard.
Oh yeah. Well, she's getting a whole new computer just so she can play it because
wow,
they've got one gaming computer at their house, and it's her husband Justin's main computer. Yeah. And so when he's working, she can't play on it, or if he's playing a game. So they actually she got her computer already. So she got a new gaming computer just for Baldur's Gate. That's how much she likes it.
Wow.
So now I also got some other Switch games, and I talked about Bramble the Mountain King. This is my number 2 game of the year. So after Tears of the Kingdom, of course, I've been playing that more. So actually, I just showed it to my friend Rich. Rich was over today, and it's kind of fun because the game, after you beat the game, it'll show a bunch of chapters open up. So if you wanted to show like one selection of the game, you don't have to play all the way through it. So I could just go right to the chapter I wanted to show. Hey, check this out. This is cool. I got Ghost Runner, which I had talked about before. There was a demo put out for Ghost Runner, and I like that game enough to actually go buy it. And now Trey, you got that game, but is it sealed?
Virtually, yeah.
Virtually sealed, yeah.
Virtually sealed. No, I played the demo. I played all the way through the demo, and then I liked the demo so much as well that I bought the game when it was on sale. But I was too afraid. I wasn't sure as whether the demo carries into the game or not, and the game's kind of hard, so I was afraid I didn't want to go through the demo stuff again on the regular game, so that's why I never opened it virtually. So there's my story for that. Because it's really difficult, as you know, because it's like doing like parkour in first person, and you get shot, and you have no shields or whatever. You get shot once, you die. You're
gonna die again and again. But it is it's quick to pick you up and put you right back where you were.
No, I mean it feels great. It feels great when you get it, but there was a lot of trial and error, and I don't know. I didn't read into it to see whether you continue from where you were in the demo. Hopefully you can, because I did some pretty hard stuff that I didn't want to do again. But to me it reminds me of basically a first person version of Katana Zero. Like that game, which works the exact same way, where you only have one hit point. If you get hit once, you get killed, and everybody else the same way. You can kill them with one hit with your sword, and that's how this game works as well. Except it's in first person, so it's a little bit harder to jump around and get from one place to another. But it looks cool, and it runs well after multiple patches on Switch. So there you go.
I got Once Upon a Jester. Do you guys remember this game? This was on a direct some time ago.
Nope.
Where you have to put on plays. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. No, I do remember it now. I don't think I ever wanted to play it, but it reminded me too much of I don't know, comedy improv, and I guess that was just I was too scared. It was like too much trauma for me. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. Last thing I need is any game to remind me of a horrible thing that I don't want to experience. Improv.
So it's like a game that it's hard to classify. I mean, it's a little bit of an adventure game. It's a little bit, I don't know, I don't know. It's hard to classify. But you try to put on plays, and you're this band of thieves that your true intention is to get into the king's. No, it's not the king. It's the queen's festival. She's putting on a play festival, and you're trying to get into the festival so that you can steal the most valuable diamond in the world, which is in the king's castle, the queen's castle. And yeah, it's just lighthearted and fun. It's the goofy kind of game that I like, and I'm not too far into it, but I think it's pretty original. So I'm enticed to see some more. Those are all games I got like a couple weeks even before the Christmas sale. But during the Christmas sale, I ended up getting something like, how many did I get? 24 games.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I got 24 games during the sale. So, and I did my thing where I just said I want to spend like $100, no more, and I want to see what can I get the most. I want to get the most games for my buck, So
most bang for your dollar, or bang for your buck.
Most bang. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, and I was also taking into account the Metacritic score, and I updated my chart I talked about a couple weeks ago. So I think I've created the system that'll help me to best optimize my purchases in the future, and it worked out pretty well this time. So I got She Sees Red is the name of the game. She Sees Red. It's a FMV game. For what I've heard, it's like not that great, but it was only $3, and I like FMV games, so I'll take a chance on it for $3.
I remember that one. That was one I thought about getting a couple times, but yeah, I heard it had kind of mediocre reviews. So yeah, I was just like, well, it's like, well, I actually play it if I get it. So I never actually got around to getting it.
But for that, it's like renting a movie. So if you rent a movie, I mean, this game is pretty much
cheaper,
a movie,
actually.
$3, yeah,
cheaper actually. I mean, some of those rental fees are high, and I mean, Prime. If you're lucky, you can get it for like 4 or 6 or 5 or 6. But when it comes out, it's 20.
We got Stay
Sometimes
Cool
30.
Kobayashi-san, a River City Ransom story. It's a beat 'em up in the River City Ransom world, and it's not great. Like it's a little too simple. It's a little too sparse. The screens are like kind of empty, especially when you got River City Girls.
Well, it's like an NES game, right? Or it's supposed to be like an NES game. Like it's supposed to be like original.
It looks more like it's going for 16-bit. Mm-hmm. Or like a modern 16-bit look. I don't know. It's not great, but it was the only River City Ransom game I think that I didn't have that's available on the Switch, so I had to get it sometime. So for $1.99 to complete the collection, not bad. The Bunker, which is another FMV game, that was $4.54. This one looks more like a slasher. The cover is a guy with an axe standing in the shadows, and I've not tried it yet, but it's cheap FMV game. Yep, put it on my list. Super Meat Boy Forever, $1.99. This is not one of the earlier Meat Boy games. This is like the latest Meat Boy game.
It says Meat Girl in it, right?
It does. It has Bandage Girl.
And Meat Baby. Name. And there's like a baby too, right?
Yeah, there's a baby as well. And I didn't forget about the games. I forgot how they played. I forgot they were like automatic running.
Like they aren't all like that. Like I played the original Super Meat Boy, and it was not an automatic runner. It was just a really hard platformer.
It just moved really fast, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess you move because you kind of slide with the blood or whatever that's coming off your meat. But I played that game on Wii U. It was part of that Humble Bundle or something that we got. Yeah. But it wasn't an auto runner. But I don't know this version.
It's not like Bit Trip Runner or something like that. But you run to the right automatically, but then it's kind of like Mario Run actually. In that way,
bounce off the wall and then go the other way.
Bounce off the wall, then you can go the other way.
Oh, okay. Exactly. Well, that must be that must be this version then, because the original one was just like a really difficult Super Mario Brothers was the idea,
I got Fire Girl Hack and Splash Rescue DX. This one's pretty cool actually. It's very pretty looking. Like it's got a nice 2D HD look to it. It's like a beat 'em up, except for what you're beating up is fire, and you're a firefighter. So you're running through the halls and aiming your fire hose to put out fires, and you got to use your axe to break down doors, and you try and get in and out of the building as fast as you can. That one for $3.59. I think this was a good deal. My nephew was enjoying it the other day. It's the kind of game you can just get in and mash some buttons and have some fun. Burly Men at Sea, which is, I think it's an adaptation of an iPhone game. It's $2. It's one of those, I think it's an Annapurna game as well. It's like that style of like artsy fartsy kind of game. and I think there's some simple puzzles in there. I haven't gotten too deep into it. I got Gato Roboto, $2 for that one. I'm enjoying that one.
That's a great game.
You'll say try to finish that one. It's not very long. Like Jeremy and I both played through that. I think I played through it like in one sitting on a stream, like when it first came out. So I thought
it took me a few days, but I beat it.
It was, it's a Metroidvania, but not too much. But you can beat it in a couple hours.
Yeah, the boss is challenging. I'm stuck on the first boss, the mouse. So I gotta get through that. I like the artwork. I like the Game Boy-esque graphics. Something about the sound too, like the sort of muted effect of the sound is just interesting. It's like when
they nailed that aesthetic, and then I don't know if you've unlocked any, like you find like different color schemes. So it's like super.
Oh no, I didn't get that far.
Kind of, yeah.
That's cool.
So eventually, you can play like pea green if you want, or like
You can
orange
change
and black. And,
you can change like the whatever the color is later in the game, or maybe after you beat it. I don't remember. And there was a game that came out that was from the same developer, right? That came out last year. Oh yeah, Gunbrella, I think was Gato Roboto.
Gunbrella, yeah.
And that game was really good, actually. That was one I really wanted to buy, but I just didn't get around to it because I played the demo, and the demo was excellent. Like it was done really, really well. I just didn't. It's still kind of on my list in my head. But if you ever see that one on sale, I'd totally recommend that one.
I love the humor of this game. Just the fact that it starts out like, another Metroid game. Here comes this space hero about to save the day, and then, oh no, the cat jumps on the keyboard and messes everything up. Now the cat has to save the day. It's just got a good sense of humor. Boomerang X. This one, I heard a lot of good reviews. It actually got an 80 on Metacritic, and it's a first-person shooter, except for you use boomerang, so it's a first-person boomer.
So
yeah, it's a real boomer shooter.
I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I actually thought about getting this one, but I was like, you got enough first-person shooters. You don't need another one. So I didn't get it. So I was still playing Turok 3, which is much different than this, I'm sure. But I mean, also, I have a ton of first-person shooters. I don't need any more.
Whenever you get through your list, you get to Boomerang X, it's worth it for $8. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I don't think it's on sale anymore, but it was for a time. But no, I'll get it. I'm sure I'll get it eventually. Whenever I'm at a point of when I'm vulnerable and I need another first-person shooter, I'll get it.
I was always curious about Rift Tracks, the game. Like, how could you make a game out of Rift Tracks? And for anybody who doesn't know, Rift Tracks is essentially it's the same guys who did the original Mystery Science Theater. They do Rift Tracks now. So without the robots and all that stuff, you can listen to a track along with your favorite movie and listen to them make jokes along with the movie. But they made Rift Tracks the game, and it's like another Jackbox game. If you're looking for a Jackbox game, it works the exact same way. You tune in with your phone, you type the code in to get the room code or whatever, and you can play with your phone where a clip from a movie will pop up on the screen, and you essentially have to come up with the cleverest, funniest quip to go along with the movie. And if you want to be lazy, they do have like pre-written stuff that you can choose. You can try and pick the funniest one, impress your friends and all that stuff. The weirdest thing though is you can play this online with anybody at any time. And I tried that. It was just so weird. It was like I was tuning into somebody else's living room as they were having a party, and I was just like listening in on their party. And I didn't say anything.
I mean, that could be kind of fun if you're drunk and alone and need some company. You just jump on this game and join somebody else's party somewhere else.
But add this to the list of random games that you can voice chat on straight through the game.
Oh wow! Yeah, there's like 3. It's like that and Friday the 13th and Fortnite and supposedly AEW, but we never tried it. But supposedly you can do it on there too.
Yeah, well, the other group was having a good time. I felt weird, like I was inside their living room, but they sounded like they were having fun.
That's kind of what happened to me when I did that with Friday the 13th, where I played it with the headphones on, and I'm pretty sure that I dialed into some like teenagers sleepover or something, and it was really weird. And it was like these young girls talking about Friday the 13th, and I'm like, this feels weird. I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I should be a part of this group or whatever, because they're like giggling and talking about whatever, and I'm like,
Were they talking about boys?
It's like, let's go get Jason or something. the one in the game. It was just really weird. It was a weird experience. Yeah. It was almost as weird as that time that Jeremy and I played online with that really young kid in Fortnite. You remember that? That was a weird experience too. The Twitch stream. That was back when people wanted to play Fortnite with you. Now nobody cares. We tried streaming Fortnite. Nobody cares about Fortnite anymore. At least on Switch they don't.
I got this game called The First Tree, which I can't say too much about because I really haven't played it much, but you're a fox and wandering around a forest, I guess. $2, and it got an 81 on Metacritic, so I'll give it a shot and let you know what I think later. Borderlands, the Legendary Collection. Now, this was kind of confusing because there's two different things you can get. There's the Legendary Collection, which is the one that I got, and then there's another one, which I guess it only includes 2 of the 3 games, but it costs more money for some reason. And I almost bought that one. It's like, why is that even on there anymore? Why? It includes fewer games for more money. And I don't know. A lot of people, I'm sure, got confused into buying that one, but I'm glad I looked at the difference. So,
yeah, I thought the 3 different ones. I thought there was the Borderlands collection that had like Borderlands 1 and 2 on it, but there's also like a Telltale game, right? There's like a Telltale Borderlands that's called like the pre-sequel or whatever. That's not like the other ones, but there's also Borderlands 3 that's on there now too.
No, so the pre-sequel was in this collection. What you're thinking was Tales from the Borderlands. Yeah. That's the Telltale one. Okay, that's a whole other thing. So what I got in this collection was Borderlands 1, 2, and then Borderlands the pre-sequel plus all the DLC, and that was $10 down from $50. So that's probably the biggest markdown.
Have you played those games yet? Like, those games are pretty much. I mean, I played through the first one solo, but they're kind of meant to be like multiplayer games, like that sort of thing. Like they're like, you go around and you collect loot, like you get different weapons. There's like a ton of different guns in it that have different like stats and that sort of thing, and you kind of go from like mission to mission, and it's kind of almost like, I don't know, sort of like a Monster Hunter minus the monsters, but you're just collecting guns from like various treasure chests and stuff like that.
I haven't really played it. I played the first one for 30 minutes or so just to check it out, but I can't say I got a real feel for it or anything.
Yeah, I played the first one all the way through, and I think Borderlands 2 was on PlayStation Plus, and I played it a little bit, but like I said, they're meant to be multiplayer, and also like the jokes, like some people might find them very annoying, which I did with the robots and stuff. They're kind of very like, dick and fart jokes, and they can be kind of irritating depending on how you feel about the game and all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get into it at some point and let you know how I feel. I got Traffix. That's Traffix, and this one is a lot like another game that I got a long time ago called. I'm blanking on the name of that one.
Urban Flow.
Urban Flow, yeah. Yeah, basically it's the exact same game, just done in a different style. And I think I like this one even better, to be honest. As much as I liked Urban Flow, I think this one has some improvements. And it was on sale for $2. So normally it's $5. I think the normal price is even cheaper than Urban Flow. But this one just has a simpler design, a simpler look to it, which I think is a big improvement for a game like this, which is all about trying to pay attention to what's going on the screen. And there's like in Urban Flow, I mean, there's a lot of little cars moving around, and the whole thing is you have to watch the traffic lights to make sure nobody crashes, and you're directing traffic at the right time and all this stuff. So a game like that, to me, like if you slim down things to the basics, that can they can actually improve the gameplay. And so this is like much more modernistic looking, simple graphics, like something you might imagine on like designed by Apple or something like that. And there's another improvement, which is that you can actually tap once to let one car go, and then it'll go back to a red light again automatically, or you can double tap to keep it on a green light. And I think that simple improvement just makes it a lot better. So I can dive in on this game, certainly, like I did with Urban Flow. It's just a nice meditation style game. And then I got Spelunky and Spelunky 2. I heard really good things about these games, and I'd never tried them before. Spelunky is an older game from like a dozen years ago or so. And then Spelunky 2 just came out, I think, last year or the year before. More recent game. Jeremy, you're nodding. You've played Spelunky before.
I've heard a lot about them. I've heard they're really hard.
I played the demo. Wasn't there a demo on the Japanese eShop, like at the very, very beginning of the Switch, like in 2017? I remember playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're randomly generated, maybe a dungeon crawler, I don't know, cave crawler, going around platforming and trying to solve simple puzzles and collect items and stuff. I haven't gotten too much into it, but I just know that there's a lot of people who really enjoy these games, so maybe I got to dig in a little harder and try again. But the one that I've been playing the most, I would say, so far I've done over 10 hours, maybe I might even be around 15 hours on Baba Is You, and I love this game. Baba Is You,
yeah, it's such a weird game.
Yeah, Jeremy, you got into it for a minute there.
Yeah, we played it. Shoot, it came out like 2018 or 2019, right?
It's kind of an older game. Yeah, that sounds about right.
But is it kind of a little bit like Scribblenauts, but more like computer programming, where you're like sort of trying to solve the problem by kind of creating a sentence of what Baba does and how? I can't completely remember how it works.
Yeah, you're on the right track. So it's a very simple presentation. There's usually just a handful of things on the screen, and among the things on the screen are some words, and you can rearrange the words to have a different effect on the elements on the screen and what those elements do and how the elements interact with each other. So very simply, there'll be a little lamb on the screen. There'll be maybe a flag, and it'll say Baba is you. Baba is the lamb. Baba is you. And then it'll say flag is win. And as Baba, you can walk over to the flag and touch the flag, and then you win. But then there might be other obstacles, like maybe the flag is surrounded by rocks, and it says rock is I forget what the term they use is, but like rock is solid, and then you can't walk through the rock. Well, the solution would be to move the word solid out of the way. So rock is no longer solid, and now you can just walk up to the flag and touch the flag. That's the very basic description of what the game is, what the challenge is. But it just gets exponentially bigger and bigger. Like I just discovered today, there's one where it says, there's hearts on the screen. It says love is teleport. And so you can, if you see two hearts on the screen, it says love is teleport. Now you can teleport from heart to heart and to get around the different obstacles and stuff. It's a game that is constantly surprising me with its genius. It's like simple genius. It's really, I've only had it for 2 weeks or whatever, but I can't say that I've never ever played another puzzle game quite like it. And it might be among my favorite puzzle games ever. I'm probably about 50 puzzles deep in right now. And it was really like, it got challenging really fast. I would say that.
Yeah.
Around puzzle number 10, it was like, whoa, I don't think I can even do this. And there might be like as few as like 5 or 6 elements on the screen to interact with. And you're just like, I absolutely do not see how there could be an answer for this problem. And I spent upwards of probably an hour on an individual puzzle sometimes. Just there's only like 5 or 6 things on the screen. I tried every comment. What can I do? But then ultimately I find it, and it's like, oh yeah, the problem was me all along. Like it's never the game's fault. It's always just I didn't think of something. It's a game that really teaches you how to think outside the box, and that's what I love about it. So I intend to play this one all the way through to the end. Plus, there's a level editor.
I mean, it is pretty much like a computer programming, though, like the way you describe it. Like from what I took computer programming like in high school, but from what I remember, it's very much like that same sort of thing. Like Baba is you, and what is this? And that's kind of how I did like a text-based RPG or whatever. And that's basically, it's like up is this or down is, where you like, what is the prompt and what would the prompt do and all that. It's very much like that.
Yeah, it's very simple in concept, but in execution, it can be tough as you add all the different things together, and then the different things have cascading effects on one another. It is like computer programming that way. Yeah. I recommend that game to anyone who considers themselves even like the vaguest of puzzle game fans. This is just a great game. I got Axiom Verge 1 and 2, and I haven't played too much of those, but I gather they are very much inspired by Metroid.
They are, yeah. I played both of them. I beat 2. I never beat 1, but I liked both of them a lot. Really good soundtracks too.
And I got Firewatch. Firewatch is a pretty cool game so far. It's not what I expected. I knew that this was like a critically acclaimed game, and I kind of purposefully didn't look into it because I just wanted to be surprised by it, knowing that it was a quality game. And it's totally different from what I expected. Did you guys play Firewatch?
Yeah, I've played all the way through that.
You did?
Yeah, and it's like it's totally a walking simulator. But did you get it? Have you played all the way through it yet?
No, I've not gotten very far. Pretty much, I just got the job, and I think I just went out and stopped some teenagers from shooting fireworks.
Yeah, it's pretty much you're by yourself, doing your job, and you're having a lot of introspective moments, and that's kind of what the game is more than anything.
Yeah, it's like not so much about doing the job, I gather, but it's more about why this guy took the job, and how he's dealing with his grief. So it's a serious kind of game, and I like that once in a while. And Jeremy, I got Inscription.
Finally.
Finally, yes. Now I've not gotten too deep into it, so I don't have much to say about it. But just know that I have it, and I'm gonna get through it.
It's got a lot of really weird humor in it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I like the presentation so far. Like having this creepy dude, talk to me, and I'm not quite sure what this game is that I'm playing, but it's intriguing.
I think it's kind of like that the whole way through, right? It keeps you guessing, like from the beginning.
It does, and the rules of the game will like change and alter as you go through it. So the basics are really all you need to know, but then the rules change later.
Yeah, so I'll have more to say on that one later. So yeah, in total, I got 24 games. Total cost, this is over the course of 6 weeks, so it's $144. I ended up saving $278 off of the list price of these games. So average cost was $5.52 per game.
Now your mission is to beat one of them by next week.
Just one of them.
I mean, it's like you could beat She Sees Red probably in an hour.
That's true.
Most of those are like watching a movie.
I bet Firewatch would only take you a few hours.
That's what I'm saying. Like Gato Roboto and Firewatch are probably about 3 or 4 hours each. Like there's a lot of very short games in there. You could easily get through one if you put your mind to it. I'm just saying, you could do it. I believe in you.
I can do it. Yes, that's it for me.
Well, let me do my stuff just because I don't really have that much. So actually, I'm going to read a comment that we got from last week. Actually, I have a couple comments from last week from our what do we call it? From our Game of the Year episode. We got a comment from Joel who says, "How on earth did I forget about Rhythm Sprout? Good job catching my oversight, Trey." I always like it when somebody remembers Rhythm Sprout, which I beat last week, by the way. After we were done recording our Game of the Year episode, which took like 3.5 hours, for some reason my Sling did not record wrestling, which was very annoying because I always watch wrestling after we get done recording. So I didn't know what to do. So I played Rhythm Sprout until I beat it because I was pretty close actually, and I made it all the way to the credits on there. So that was my first beat. No, that was my second beat of 2024 because my first beat was actually technically Super Mario RPG, and that was the first game that I played at the midnight hour or whatever of 2024 was Super Mario RPG. Because I was trying to keep my mind off of all the explosions that were happening in my neighborhood. Like the whole neighborhood pretty much blew up like that night, like from all which way, and all the cats were freaking out too. So I just had them like, just sit by me and we'll play Mario RPG. It's a nice game. It's a nice game that's calming. Like, don't think about all these explosions in the street. I mean, there were people shooting fireworks like right in front of our house. Well, like to the side, but still. But I could see fireworks also, like big professional ones, like right over the alley. So it was everything blew up. But that. Also, we got a comment and a challenge that I promised I would read to you, which I think we should do this.
Whoa.
So, friend of the show, listener, Joe, has been on the show before. He says, "I knew Fight Forever was your number one, but I had no idea it was NIntenDomain's Game of the Year. LOL. Epic. Great show, bro. We should do a bonus wrestling chat after one of your podcasts, where all of you and me play NIntenDomain's Game of the Year together." So that's his challenge, is that
we all play Tears of the Kingdom together.
No, Fight Forever. AEW Fight Forever.
Okay.
That's his challenge, is that one time after we get done recording, we play with him online and we stream it. So that's my challenge to you.
That'd be fun.
Then we can all play it.
I'm in.
So we'll have to plan it. I don't know if we can do it tonight, but maybe sometime in the future we should plan it and do it. And we'll whenever we get done recording, we'll jump on and play for like an hour or something like that. All four of us. That'll be fun. So I know he's been wanting both of you to get on and play for a long time. So that could be we could do that.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. So there you go. Also, in the AEW front, Tony Storm was added today as on Season 2 DLC. So I played around with that for a while. It's not the new Timeless Tony Storm, unfortunately. It's old Tony Storm. But you can, with some assistance from Shake, I figured out how to... there's like a black and white effect you can do where you can make it black and white. But there's like a black and white effect and there's a film effect. But you can't do black and white and film effect. So you can't do the effect that they do on AEW for it. But you can kind of try to make the Timeless Tony Storm. And her new idea is that she's like this old... she's like this old kind of... actor that's sort of out of it and in her own head all the time, which I think is hilarious, and it's a great character, and her whole story with that's been going great. Anyway, she's on there now. She's got some fun moves. I figured out her special move where you can do the butt stomp in the corner and all that. And I've mostly just been I've been trying to put together my video, my top 10 video of the game, of my game of the year stuff. So I've been playing through a lot of the stuff to capture it that I didn't capture yet. So I played and I played AW today also because I knew Tony Storm was coming and I wanted to try it. But I played like a couple matches and did some online, did some Stadium Stampede, and actually played a real person on there and not just bots. He ended up beating me at the last part, but I did run over him with the golf cart, which is pretty great. So that was a fun moment on there. Oh yeah, and while we were streaming, Shake had discovered something on another Discord or something like that, but there was like a new thing that nobody knew about on the game where if you're doing like tag team mode and you're fighting each other so long to where one of the wrestlers gets hurt, gets like injured, you can do like this jump tag move, where you jump from the middle of the ring over to the side and you tag your tag team member in, and when they come in, they'll have full special meter, like outside of the ring, which I didn't know about. So I guess that was something that was like just discovered online, and we did it. We got it to work like on the stream and all that. So if you want to check that out, youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast, you can find it on there. So that was cool. We got he's like, hey, there's this thing on there. So yeah, we got it to go. You just basically have to beat the crap out of somebody like a lot until like the game like kind of like flashes red when you like injure them, and then they won't be able to walk like as well on the ring, and then you can jump over and tag. And we did it with the Acclaimed, so it's cool. They're new, they're on there now. So I've been doing that. While I was editing the podcast, I played more of Mortal Kombat 1. It's really, I don't know, it really impresses me how much they fixed that game. Like, there's like almost no loading time in it whatsoever now. Like, if you're playing the arcade mode, it's insane. And if you play against Johnny Cage, he looks so much different than the buggy-eyed Johnny Cage that you saw from the beginning when the game was first launched. Like, it looks like day and night difference. I wanted to like you can't capture it, but I wanted to just like take pictures of it and just post it like that next to the other one, because he looks like completely different. Like, it looks like a whole, like, I don't know. And I know it's not going to look as good as the PlayStation 5 one, but it looks like comparable now. I don't know.
That guy is so obsessed with his appearance.
Yeah. But they do the whole move, they showed where he like puts the glasses on and his eyes were all buggy. He looks like a normal person now. He doesn't look like this. He doesn't look like that weird creature from Beetlejuice.
I got those
Like
bifocals.
yeah. But yeah, I played that. I guess I did. I'd put a list together similar to what John did. Because I ended up getting for like Christmas, I ended up getting like $90 worth of eShop credit or eShop money. Thanks to John and thanks to Jess's brothers as well. I ended up with I got two 35s and a 20, so that's 90. So I ended up with $90. So I ended up getting some stuff over Christmas.
Nice.
We bought I think I mentioned a little bit last week, but I bought Jackbox 5 and 9 because all those were on sale. We bought Jackbox 5. We bought Jackbox 9 because that has Fibbage 4 on it, because we play Fibbage 3 so much. And we bought Jackbox 5 because Jackbox 5 has the newest version of You Don't Know Jack on it, because Jess and I play that because it's a 2-player game, or you can play 2 players. You can play Fibbage 2 players also. But yeah, because we wanted to play that. And 5 also has the rapping robot on it. So if we ever get a chance to play that, I know you always wanted to play that game. I finally have it. The one with the rapping robots. But you need more people to play the rapping robots, obviously, because you need people to vote on like what the best rap is and all that stuff. So I think you need to have at least like 5 people or something like that to play it. Or maybe 3. I don't know.
You need a whole crew.
Yeah, but you need, you need enough people to be able to vote to where it won't tie or whatever. So I don't know. But yeah,
6.
Something like that, yeah. So yeah, I got those. They were like on sale. They were like $13 or something like that. So they were pretty cheap. I think one of the first things I got with my eShop credit was Turok 3, obviously, which I talked about last week as being one of the best remasters of last year. Yeah, Turok 3 is awesome. I beat the game with Danielle and actually started playing through with the other guy. It's not Josh. Josh is the main guy that gets killed. I think the other guy is Joseph, the kid. But yeah, there's two different storylines that you can play through, and they vary somewhat. Like, you go through kind of the same levels, but you go through them in different ways, and you get different weapons depending on who you play as and that sort of thing. But it's cool. Yeah, it's really impressive for a Nintendo 64 game. Like, when we were doing a Patreon episode where we were talking about like how impressive like Conquer was with all of the dialogue and all that. Like this game has like has fully voiced too. Like it's completely voiced dialogue and all that. And I know they did do a little bit of re-recording for the remaster even. Like I thought it was like a little bit of special effects and maybe a line in dialogue, but it looks great. Like it's very impressive. And it plays so much different than Turok 1 and 2 do. You know, it almost kind of feels like Turok that's somewhat influenced by like GoldenEye and stuff like that, where everything's kind of a little bit more mission based and like the levels are bigger and all that. But it's really good. Like it's a great game. Like I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like it's a really, really good first person shooter. I bought the Bill and Ted collection just because it was getting delisted. I have no plan on playing it ever. I just got it just because I knew it was going to be taken away, and it's already been taken away. It was taken away on the first day of 2024. So I went for it because, you know, might as well get it now and you know, instead of waiting till you can't get it anymore. I'm sure I'll turn it on.
Just have the Bill and Ted logo on your Switch. That's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that it was going away. I was like, well, I got to get it because it's disappearing, and who knows if it'll come back ever. So might as well get it now. And someday I can just turn it on and remember how much I didn't like that NES game. But I heard the Game Boy game's a little bit better, so there you go.
Yeah, the Game Boy game is more like an arcade game, and interestingly, it's actually graphically inspired by the Bill and Ted cartoon, not by the movie.
Okay, I had some of those toys, some of the toys from the Bill and Ted cartoon. They were cool looking. Let's see what else. I got the longest 5 minutes. I forget. We got a comment on we actually did get another comment on the community page about. I don't remember how many. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It was a few. It was a few episodes back. It was whenever I talked about In Stars in Time, like basically the game where you go through the ending of the game over and over and over again. We got a comment from Tim Hendrickson, and that was for episode 398. That says, In Stars in Time, as you described it, sounds a lot like the Vita game, The Longest 5 Minutes, and might be worth looking into. And I said, oh, cool, because it's done by NIS, which is the same people who do like Ys and those sort of games. And it was actually on sale for like $3 this week, so I bought it. I haven't played it yet, but I bought it just because I was really interested in it. I think it was $3.99, so I was like, oh shit, well I'll grab it because we got a comment from one of our listeners to check it out, and I always try to check out things that they tell me to, if I can. I know I still haven't played Chained Echoes, but one of these days. But so I got that, bad decision, don't do it. I bought the Spy Who Shot Me, which is like supposed to be like a GoldenEye 64 knockoff game. It's awful. Don't bother with it. Buy Turok 3. Like seriously. You can tell it's really, really low key, super duper low budget. It sounds like it was like recorded in a bathroom. Like, I mean, it has voiceover in it, but it's really bad. And it doesn't play very well, and it's not fun. So
sorry for my partner inspiring you to buy this.
No, it's not your fault. I just, it's my weakness. Sometimes I get vulnerable to these first person shooter games, and I actually confused it with Agent 64, which is actually another one that is like, kind of made with the same, which is made with the same stuff that they use for GoldenEye, and that one actually looked really good. I thought it was that one. I don't know. I figured I'd go for it, but most of these games, like I have I have a soft spot for racing games and first person shooters. Most of the time when you buy it and you play about like 10 minutes of it, you can tell whether it's going to be good or not. And this one was kind of like, all right, I don't like this game. So I turned it off and went back to Turok. That's why I was playing Turok 3, because I needed something to like rebuild my faith in humanity or whatever. I needed to play something good. It's like when you watch a really shitty movie and you want to watch a better one afterwards, to like make yourself feel less depressed. I used to do that all the time when I would rent movies. I'd always rent a backup movie that I knew would be good, when I was trying something out. So I could be like, all right, well, if I watch this one however long, I'll watch another one. So that's what I did. I was like, fuck this game. I'm playing Turok 3. So that's when I started playing the Joseph story, because I was like, fuck that game. Oh yeah, and also last week we talked about it on our show, but I did end up buying Trombone Champ, and I'm terrible at it. It's very awful at that game. It was on sale for $8 for like an hour, for however many minutes after we were done recording. And I bought it and I tried playing it, and I was like, this game is loud and I'm terrible at it. So I played it a little bit, and I'm like, I'm going back to Rhythm Sprout. So I still like Rhythm Sprout a lot better than Trombone Champ. I don't know, and it was the motion control wasn't really working very well for me. Like I had it like curled like under my butt or whatever, because it wouldn't like move down far enough, because I didn't realize that you could reset it, and Yeah, it's a weird.
Yeah, if you do,
it's a weird.
If
game.
you're doing the one with that has motion plus tilt, that I think it makes it a little bit more difficult. But the best one is just to use tilt and then ride that reset button whenever you need to.
Yeah, I was just using tilt. I was just using the regular 8-bit Do controller, but it was just like, I had it like way, way down, like almost to the ground, trying to hit those really, really low notes, and I'm like, all right, this game is silly. But yeah, I'm sure I'll play it again at some point. But I still like Rhythm Strap better. Oh yeah, and when I was doing my top 10 video, I started playing through. I guess the good thing is I get to play through all these games that I said were my favorites. Well, I basically try to grab the parts that I need to show why they are great, that sort of thing. So I was like, well, I'm going to go fight one of the large monsters in Dragon Quest Monsters because I wanted to talk about how there's these big giant monsters walking around the world. So I went up to like the big one-eyed troll guy, and I beat him. I beat a large monster for the first time, like while I was doing the recording. So cool. Nice. He didn't become part of my party. Maybe I have to beat him again. I don't know how you're supposed to catch the large ones. I think it's different. Because in the game you use this scout ability where you basically kind of like it uses like the attack power of your party to like impress them, and if it gets over a certain percentage they'll join you or whatever. But you can't do that against the large monsters. So I think you're supposed to like maybe knock them down far enough and then give them some of the candy that like makes them want to join you or whatever. But you can't get the big monsters. So I'll have to go back and do that. But it was cool that I hadn't played it in a while, and I went back and it wasn't easy. Like I beat it with like maybe 2 guys left out of my like 8 monsters that I had with me, but he hits really hard. So it was like I did get, a lot of people did get killed, but I still somehow ended up beating him. So that was cool. I was like, yeah, all right. And I unlocked like 3 more worlds also on there on Dragon Quest Monsters. I can't wait till I finish all of the crap of 2023 stuff that I'm still working on, so I can go back to actually playing games for fun. So that'll be cool that I can go and play Dragon Quest Monsters and Octopath Traveler 2 and have a good time again whenever that happens in 2025. So yeah, that's what I got. But we can take a break and we'll come back and talk about Jeremy's stuff. We'll talk about the future. Think about the future.
Future is now. Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NIntenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NIntenDomain ever made.
Here we go!
And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NIntenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
right. Well, we're back, and I guess I'll talk about what I got this past few weeks.
Jeremy takes control. Go for it.
I talked about some of this stuff last week in the top 10 games of the year, but I figured I'd mention it again just in case. That I did beat Dragon Quest Heroes 2 over the break.
Builders.
Did I say Heroes?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because you were talking about Monsters. No, it was definitely not Heroes.
I was going to say, did you beat Heroes 2? It's not that long. Right? I mean, Heroes is like the the Muso version. Yeah.
Well, I even wrote it down as Heroes, so yeah, I double punked myself there. No, Dragon Quest Builders, of course, and I put over 60 hours into it, and had a really good time with it, and probably rushed a little bit at the end. So there's still a lot of stuff I could do, and there's definitely like post game stuff. I don't know if it's new quests per se, but there's just completionist type stuff if I want to finish it up. So I'll probably check it out at some point. Maybe, I don't know. I definitely buildered myself out, so I need a break.
You're finally tired of building. You love building.
Well, I just need a break. Like
Yeah.
I just go through these ebbs and flows, you know.
Sure.
But I did buy a few things for Switch. I bought Jackbox 3 because we had people over for Festivus, and but I didn't get a chance to play it yet. So I bought that one in particular because it has TKO on it. I wanted to own that one.
Oh yeah. And what is it?
The
10
t-shirt one. Yeah.
I think Jackbox 10 has TKO 2 as a sequel on
Oh.
there. They made a sequel to it. Also, the newest one.
But it was just we had a bunch of people over and they were talking about wanting to play Jackbox, and then I started getting it all hooked up, and then everyone got distracted. No one wanted to play anymore.
Oh, well. Next time.
But I have it for the future. I also purchased Trombone Champ right after we got done recording last week, just because it's so cheap. It was so cheap. And so I own that. I haven't tried it yet, but as everyone knows, I have played it before, just not on the Switch, only on PC. And then I bought WarioWare Move It. I think I also mentioned that last week because it was on my list. Spoilers. But that was with the money John sent me. So it was on sale for, I think it was on sale for 30. No, it was on sale for 40, I think. 38. It was like 38 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think it ever went on sale.
Yeah, it was on sale. It was part of the holiday sale. So
okay.
I was able to use gold points and the money John sent me to get that. So thank you, John. I really like it. I like being able to like kind of play it more at my own pace because it's fairly complicated. But yeah, I talked about it a lot last week. If you want to hear me talk about it, you can go back to Game of the Year episode. But I like it. I look forward to our next attempt to play it competitively, Trey.
Yeah,
I actually know
in
what I'm
person, doing. 2-player. I'd like to try out the whatever party mode on there.
And then, so this next one I didn't buy on the Switch. It just showed up on PlayStation Plus. Or, yeah, it showed up on PS Plus, but like for,
the extra
I had to buy it.
Or whatever.
I had to buy it, but it was like $5 or $6. It was really cheap.
Great.
So I finally got Sifu.
Yes.
There you go.
So there's a couple of problems with Sifu. Okay, first off, I'll say I like it. It looks really cool. I think John was spot on when he said like it feels like you're playing like a martial arts movie for real. Like it really does capture that feel where you start to just get really fluid with your surroundings and incorporate them into your strings of attacks, and like you're grabbing a bottle and then you like throw it at them and then you run up on them and you knock them down, or maybe you do a leg sweep and then you poke them in the eye and then you pick up a pipe and smack them in the head. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And all the while somebody else is running up on you and you got to start thinking about what you're going to do to them. So after a while, it's to be a lot of fun. Like, so I was like, well, I'm going to play this on regular mode to start out. That was a mistake. I'm not good enough for that.
Yeah.
I could get to the boss, and I could even get to the second phase of the first boss, but I could never get past it. So after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it down easy because I just think it'll be fun to like see everything the game has to offer. And if it stays this fun all the way through, I'm going to want to play it on a harder mode. I'm going to want to see like, these kind of games are more fun when you get better at them. So like, you want to push that difficulty up. So I'm just trying to play through it on easy mode. So I finally, I bumped it down to easy, very easily got through the first level. I mean, it only makes you age like 1 year every time you fail in easy mode. So That makes it a lot easier.
What level was I playing it on while you were here, John? Was that easy or regular?
That was regular.
Okay, because
which I forgot. I forgot that with this game, you really do have to actually start it on easy mode. And I remember saying that now
because I thought I was playing okay. I mean, yeah, sure, I lost some levels, and sometimes you lose more than one, but sometimes you get them back too. Like you can do, like there was, I don't know, there's different things you can do.
You don't get them back, but you like reduce.
Or you
reduce
how much
you keep your retries, but you do reduce how much years you age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. It would like go back and forth, like but it was. I liked what I played of it, and I know I know like the opening of it. So with it, how it's the character change and all that, which is cool.
I'll say, okay, go ahead, John.
I thought that was one of the coolest things about it, that it's a beat 'em up where you can't just jump in and mash buttons and get far at all. Like you actually have to like learn the moves, and you have to. It's highly recommended actually you start on easy mode your first time out, because you're not going to get in and just figure it all out. So yeah,
it's a fairly complicated battle system, but it's also extremely satisfying.
It's one that clicks once you get it.
Prompts,
you get it. Yeah.
There's like button prompts on screen that help when you're trying to get, acclimated to it. But so here's the bad thing. So I got through the first level real quick, beat it. I got to the second level. I think that was actually kind of a challenge, but I did make it to the very end, but I got like knocked out right away by what I thought was the boss. So I played again, got to that, because it had started me with, the less continues to as well, because I was going through all at once. So I went back to it and I got all the way through it, back to that guy that I thought was the boss, and beat that person really easily, like knocked him down, was waiting for them to get back up, didn't realize they were like staying down. I thought maybe I just stunned them. I'm like, wait, that was it to the boss? And it's like, oh no, wait, it took like a second, but then it like, I realized, I can go to like the next area now. So I go to the next area and it goes to the loading screen, and then it never stops loading. And I just sit there. I probably sat there for 2 or 3 minutes. Finally, I'm like, okay, screw this. Let me go ahead and just start the level over. And it wasn't like my PlayStation froze. Like I was able to restart the game, but I couldn't like use any in-game menus. I could only use the PlayStation menu. So I started it over. Happened again. I was like, screw this. This is pissing me off. So I kind of forgot about it. I just went on a trip, which I'll get to, but I was gone for a few days. Then when I came back and I booted it up again, and I had kind of forgotten, I was like, something happened before why I stopped playing this, because I remember I was having fun, but I couldn't remember that it failed on me twice. And of course, it did it again. So I don't know what to do other than just start an entirely new file, maybe. But I don't know. It was really frustrating because I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And it's on the PlayStation 5, so you would think this would be a pretty,
yeah, there shouldn't be any
ironed out version.
Yeah. I was going to say any loading at all on PlayStation 5, I would think would be something wrong with it, because isn't it supposed to be like super fast with the solid state drive and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it must just be that file's corrupted.
I looked it up. Yeah, I looked up stuff and found myself on a few different Reddit pages, and nobody had the same story about where it was freezing up on them. So
at least
they were suggesting the same thing. Yeah.
At least it's frozen up at the very beginning, though. Like you're only on the second level.
Yeah.
It's still annoying, though.
Yeah. So I'll start it over again, but I had to mention it just because I see no reason why it should be functioning this poorly on the newest console, or the newest console generation.
Yeah.
Specifically. So yeah, I don't know. I'll get back to it, I guess. I like it. It's fun. It's a change of pace for me because I don't play a lot of fighting games, but it's got a bit of like a more refined Hades feel to it, if that makes any sense. And of course, more linear, more like story. I guess there's like definitely a bit of a story happening, but mostly it's just like an old kung fu movie, and that's what's great about it. Like you're literally like avenging the death of your father, I think.
Yeah, it's a very simple story that way.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, that's basically it, except for, since John mentioned Baldur's Gate 3, I thought I should also mention. I did what I said I was going to do. I just started my file over, but I've been listening to the podcast by Watch Out for Fireballs. They do the Bonfire Side Chat podcast, which was about Elden Ring. And I listened to every episode of that. I was current on it, but then it's done. There's no more. So they just like the DLC hasn't come out, or we don't know anything about it. So it's just like that's on hiatus for now. So now they've got a new show called Real Lich Hours, and it's about Baldur's Gate 3. And since I stopped playing it a few months ago, they started this podcast, and they're only like 4 episodes in. 4 episodes of the game. I think they had like 2 episodes before to kind of like catch people up on D&D that may not understand it so well, which I really appreciated. That was really nice. And kind of the history of D&D and some more like some names here and there and all that. But this now that I've been listening to this, I went back to it and I got caught back up to where I was before, like within the first day I played it. And then as of today, I've surpassed where I was, and I've played like maybe half the time. So I just understand the game better because of this. The podcast helped a lot, and like learning a little bit more about D&D. And also I just like was able to, there's a couple things I missed at the beginning that I was able to do again. One of which was get a party member that I was super excited about, but then something terrible happened to them, and I won't spoil anything, but God damn it. I really got punched in the gut last night, right before I went to bed. This thing happened, and I was just like, wait, that wasn't real, was it? Like, that was just like a dream, or maybe like it's one of those things where I just got to heal this person. No, I got pretty attached to that character. So yeah, and I don't know if it was my fuck up or not, but they're gone now. But yeah, I also got I started a romance in the game too. So I've gotten to see a little bit of that, a little bit of the romance side of things. So I definitely feel like I'm more into it this time and more like focused, and I understand it better, which is very important because it's a fairly complicated thing, and there's a lot of stuff you can do. But if you ultimately it ends up being like more of a puzzle game than a fighting game if you like use the environment to your advantage and your different skills, and to see if the game will let you do things that usually will, including like you could just push like certain bosses like off a cliff and then they're just dead.
Yeah. I think that was what I heard, is that, yeah, there's a lot of options, but also you can accidentally kill your group, your party members or whatever. Like I've heard
forever.
People killing like Asterion, the one that like everybody likes that got the award or whatever. Yeah, yep. They're like, oh yeah, I killed that person. I was like, okay.
Well, I killed one that I didn't want to kill, so that sucked.
Yeah. There's what was it? The other one, what are their other games that they did before that? Had a lot of options like that too.
Divinity Original Sin, I think.
Yeah, probably the one that's on Switch. Also, I actually heard a lot of people liked Baldur's Gate, and then tried to go back to Divinity Original Sin, and they got rolled. They got destroyed because it was much harder. It wasn't as approachable as Baldur's Gate was, which is funny. But yeah,
it's super approachable, and I really like it. So that's going to be my game of the month. Probably, not like I'm making a list of top games of the month, but it's probably be the one I play the most this month, because that's kind of what I've been saying I was going to do for a while now. Now I'm there. I'm in January. Back into dry January. But let me tell you what.
But you didn't start...
Right before dry January.
I was going to say, you didn't start dry January until you got back, right? Like, you didn't have to spend Vegas dry, did you? Because that would have been hard.
Correct. Yes, I went to Vegas, which I think people probably would have known. Like, I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I went to Vegas. Just got back Monday. I was there for the whole weekend, and I got back Sunday night. That's right, and had a great time. But it was definitely not dry January in Vegas.
You been to Vegas before?
No, but now when people ask me that, I can say yes.
Did you go to? I don't know if they still. I mean, they used to have like casinos and stuff. Like if you gambled, they'd give you free drinks and food and stuff like that. Did they still do that?
Not that I know of.
Because they want you to spend all your money on gambling, so they give you free shit.
I only gambled 3 times while I was there, and that was literally I sat at a table. I played 21 3 times. Okay. I won the first round, so it was 25 minimum bet. I won the first round. I went up to 50, and then I played another round, and then I lost, and I was back down to 25. So I broke even. And I was like, maybe I should just quit. And then Sean and I were walking back to the room because it was at our hotel. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back because I said, I was going to pay to play. And so it's okay to lose this money. I just want to try it one more time.
You want to
And
be
that
taught
was
a
like,
lesson.
it was a bit of that. I was getting a bit of that. I think, the gambling urge. She's like, okay, fine. We did say that. And so like, go back, go ahead and bet one more time. I bet one more time and I won.
Nice.
Shauna said, let's go to bed.
Now you
Time
can,
to go to
now you
bed.
can
I'm like,
stop.
all right.
Yeah.
So I went and I cashed it out. And that's all the gambling I did in Vegas. And that was the very last night, right before we went to bed, because we had to get up early the next morning for the plane. So
That's nice.
mostly
You're up
when I was
100%.
there. Yep. But not with how much I spent while I was there. And yeah, it was expensive. But I did see a few kind of video game adjacent things. One big thing was I went to the Pinball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, tell me about that because I've heard about this. I saw a post from Craig Harris a couple of weeks ago about the Pinball Hall of Fame. I did not even know this was a thing. So what's it like?
So it's literally right after you roll into Vegas. Like, I guess I don't know what direction it would be from, but it's like, the iconic Vegas sign. Like, you can see it from the Pinball Hall of Fame. Like, it's right there, like, as you coming to the town. And as you're rolling up, it's just the gigantic sign that says pinball. Like, it covers up the whole front of the building. And, that's the way Vegas is. Everything's like that. So you're like, oh my God, the anticipation's building. I can see, like, in the lights as the Uber's rolling up, like, it's just this huge warehouse full of pinball machines. And at the time, I didn't know it, but also arcades. We roll up and we go in. And first things first, I'm thinking, oh, crap, I hope it's not, like, really expensive to get in because I didn't do much research. But no, you just pay, quarters to play the games. And they got machines there and stuff, but to like change machines. But we started walking around the place, and I kid you not, a good 2/3 of the machines were down out of the entire place, like including some that were just sitting around in pieces. And like, I was really kind of disappointed at first, but the more I like kind of walked around and read the signage, and like I talked to one of the employees for a little bit, it's like completely volunteer based. It's a nonprofit, and it's all the machines that are inside of it are owned by people that just have them housed there essentially. And from what I can tell, those are the people like they're in charge of maintaining their own machines and stuff. So I think a lot of people are probably just storing their stuff there, and then if it stops working, then maybe they come back for it. I don't know, but
Just leave it there.
I mean, it was
sell them
pretty.
there? I wonder if they must sell them.
I didn't see
Yeah,
a
that
single. I didn't see a single for sale sign on any of the like machines, which kind of surprised me because you even see that at Galloping Ghost sometimes. Like they'll be selling an extra machine or something.
Or you see it a lot at the Midwest Gaming Classic when we were there, which they have the arcade or the his or whatever, the museum or whatever they call it, and a lot of stuff is provided by Galloping Ghost. But you see signs on a lot of arcade machines being like, "Hey, you could buy this today for this much," like so.
Yeah, not a single one of the machines was like that. But I like I said, I just wanted to like kind of lead with that because I was very disappointed at first, but the more time we spent there, the more I like started to appreciate it for like, let's just like focus on playing the oldest machines we can find that are still working. And that was really fun. Like we were playing a bunch of pinball machines from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I guess mostly from the 60s and 70s. I don't know if they had any like actual pinball from before that, but we played like a lot of really cool ones that were just completely mechanical, and so I was starting to get like a big kick out of that. But then we found this machine that was like a baseball game. It was like baseball combined with like a skee ball a little bit. So it was like an old machine. It was from 1955, and it was completely mechanical. And you had this puck, and you slid it up, and it like went into this little place that had different holes that the puck could land in, and that would determine how many base hits you had. And so there was like this window at the top, and these like little like 10 baseball guys are running around, and they'll like when they hit home base, they'll like fall down into it, and it kind of looks like they go off. I don't know. It was really cool as how well it was working, and it was for the most part fully functional. The scoring was a little weird. We just had to kind of keep track of how many runs we got ourselves, but because you'd hear like a little bell ring every time. But Sean and I played that one for quite a while. I think we played 4 or 5 games of that. So it's called like Super 5 innings or something like that. And it's literally a 5-inning game of baseball where you get a total of, I guess you get 3 shots per inning. And then it just kind of bases your runs on that. But that game was really fun. there was this really creepy one we used that was, I guess I wouldn't call it a game, but it was like a marionette puppet that's like in this like window, and it starts playing like all these old like cartoon songs, and you could tell they're like playing on a vinyl record because they're all scratchy. And it's just this really creepy like clown puppet, and you can control it by what buttons you hit, what like which arms and legs will move, and its head just kind of like sways side to side, and that was really creepy. They had a one of those wax extruding machines like they used to have at theme parks where you could get like a shape. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like it would like spit to this mold.
Are you talking about what they would have at like the museums in Chicago, where you get like the dinosaur and stuff like that? Yeah. They
had one of those that was from Disneyland or Disney World. I'm not sure, and you could get Goofy's head, or no, I think it was Pluto, but I didn't do that. That was $6.
One of those dogs.
I thought that was cool that it was functional. Some of the games would eat your quarters, but since they run entirely on donations, I didn't complain about it. But we had a good time there. It was, like I said, it's this huge warehouse. So when I first walked in, I'm wondering, like, surely this isn't more stuff than Galloping Ghost, but the space was like the size of like a convention hall. But
yeah, it looks massive.
Once you got going, like, and you saw how much stuff was like not functional, then you realize you're just more you're more at a museum than an arcade, I guess. So, and also I was a little bit curious why they don't decorate the place better. Like, it's got all these just stark white walls, and you're like, why couldn't they just like paint some simple cartoons on there, or like just put up a bunch of posters or art or something? But
make it look like an arcade.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's just very minimalistic. And there was like a whole is it the Stern pinball where they're like still making machines? There was a whole like center area where there was all these new Stern pinball machines, and I think they probably hold tournaments and stuff there. But the rest of the arcade was not that up to date. But they did have like a Donkey Kong machine. They had like the original Super Mario Bros. They had like a bunch of different like old arcades. They had a really cool. What was the Versus arcade? It was a Versus arcade that was like, I think it was Punch Out and something else. Maybe I can't remember. I'll have to look at my pictures. But that one wasn't functional, sadly. But it was like a corner, like it was like kind of shaped like the X-Men arcades.
Or it had like reverse, 2 screens.
Two screens side by side,
or like
but it was basically it was basically just two games in the same cabinet, because I don't even think they were like the same game where you could play. So that was cool. And then I did see what's it called, Computer Space.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I saw that. Also, sadly, that wasn't working, but it's the original like really weird like curvy looking cabinet. Like the first arcade cabinet, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They sort of had the right idea, but they wanted it to look futuristic. I found this out in that Atari history that we bought from the people that made the Card Seiko one as well.
Atari 50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Atari 50. That's where I learned all about Computer Space. And I really wished I could have played it, but nope, it was down. But yeah, other than that, like I got to play Twilight Zone mini golf. That was pretty fun. That was like an actual just mini golf course that they had set up, but had a lot of really cool props that were like stuff from the Twilight Zone series, and then quotes all over. They had like little CRTs everywhere showing different episodes, and like the creepy puppet was in there. There was a whole like wall with books everywhere that was dedicated to the episode where the guy's glasses break.
The Burgess Meredith one, yeah.
Yeah, and
does it have the Shatner, the Gremlin on the wing?
No, you know what? I didn't see the Gremlin on the wing.
Yeah,
maybe it was there in the back, but yeah, I didn't see that one. I did see the one where like, where do people go when you send them to the cornfield? So there was like, that one was referenced, and then
the little boy.
Yeah, the little boy, and then like the one where you find out the aliens are actually humans, and the big person is the alien. You remember that episode?
I don't remember that one. I remember the one with all the people with the pig faces. Like, that was a cool one.
Yeah, that was referenced.
Yeah, and then there's the one. There was a Simpsons episode about it, and I remember my mom telling me about it. There's like the one where the girl gets like caught in the wall. And my mom said that scared the crap out of her when she was a kid.
Oh yeah,
they do this. That's the Simpsons one where they go to the world where everything's 3D. Where he's like, "Have you seen Tron?" No, that one.
I was like, the monsters are due on Maple Street, where you have the neighborhood that's been like set into chaos by simply the aliens have turned off their power and they start accusing each other. That one was like a really good, simple allegory.
Yeah. Well, the one I was talking about with the aliens, it's one of my favorite episodes because it's literally just a lady running around in a house and she's like listening to the radio. And she's like, it's just like listening to music or something. And she's hearing all these weird sounds and she sees this like flying saucer come into her house. And then like this little guy comes out and he doesn't see her, but she sees him and she ends up like smashing him or something. And I don't know. It's just this whole long thing where it's like kind of presented as like a horror movie. Like she thinks they're coming after her, but in real life they're just like exploring. And at the very end of the episode, it like zooms in on the ship and it says United States Air Force on it. So we were the aliens, man.
It's like Feature. It's like Feature from Star Trek 1, where it ends up being the Voyager satellite.
It was really cool though, and it was like it was neon mini golf, so we were using like fluorescent balls, and that just made it more like Twilight Zone-y. And all the art and stuff, you could tell it was like handmade, but I think that was charming because it didn't seem like it was like some corporate thing that's all over the place. It really felt like a special little art installation someone made, and all the statues and stuff were really cool. I recommend anyone if you go. It's in crap. I forget which casino it's in. Maybe Caesar's Palace or the Mirage. I can't remember. They're all. The thing about Vegas is that everything looks the same after like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
because you like walk through. Like even when we got off the plane, and there's this person sitting in front of me that had like a really cool mullet. That's how I remembered who they were. And like we got off the plane, and that person was already playing a machine in the airport. Like as soon as they got off the plane, and there's like a whole gambling room like immediately as you get off the plane, like a whole room where you can like smoke cigarettes inside of it, and it's got like it's like the old smoking rooms in the. And yeah, you can smoke inside of all the buildings there, which is wild and smells really bad.
Yeah,
well,
it's especially pretty, if you're not smoking anymore.
I didn't like it,
or if you used to. Yeah,
but it was cool that you could vape, so I guess that's cool. But yeah, no, everything just looks the same, and like we'll wander from place to place, and like there's a lot of cool art and a lot of lights and everything, but. Yeah, it's just all the and I was talking to Shauna. I was like, I wish I could have been here back in the heyday when it was all these like mechanical and you would hear all these like jingling and like sounds of like tumblers spinning and all that, and the sounds of coins like falling, and now it's just like like it's like you're going into an actual arcade, except just all these tall curved flat screens, and that's every arcade machine's the exact same thing. Every gambling machine's the exact same thing. It's just this tall machine with a different flashy game on it. And then there's like a craps game, but it looked like, if you remember, have you ever played like the Trouble where you like pop the bubble in the middle and there's dice in it?
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's like craps where you're sitting there. It's like, the dice will pop in there and like you're betting on them.
Oh, wow.
And then, there is also like actual tables and stuff where you could play like more high stakes stuff, but I didn't do any of that, obviously. And I didn't play any of the machines either. Because they're the same as the machines here in Illinois. Those machines are all over the place at bars
probably.
and stuff. So, oh well. But yeah, I saw the sphere, but I didn't see it up close. You can just see it everywhere.
You probably see it from the plane when you're landing.
Yes,
you actually
see it
from the air, yeah, because it looks pretty huge.
But it's not as big. At the same time, it's not as big as they make it seem, because all the buildings around it make it look tiny, actually.
There was some Sphere news this week. Did you see? They turned it into Tetris.
I guess
I must have just missed it. Yeah,
I guess they're covering it in IGN or something, because I'm friends with Seth Macy, and he posted that he was there by the Sphere like just a second ago. So I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, now I was like, Jeremy was there, now he's there. So, but then I saw the Tetris thing. So they must have went to cover it, because I saw he was in Vegas.
Somebody actually play Tetris on it, or is it just a video?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know.
It's probably just a video.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any spherical Tetris games. I've never played any.
Tetris Sphere.
I guess there's Tetris Sphere.
What about Tetris Sphere on 64? or like Tetris Attack, Pokemon Puzzle League. There was the 3D one that went in a circle.
Yeah, it was more of a
that was a sphere also. I mean, it was 2D, but it was 2D wrapped around like in a it's like a pillar.
It was a tube.
Yeah.
It was a tube.
Still, you could make it.
Did
Did you see
make it work.
anybody? Did you see them setting up for CES?
No.
Did you get any sort of?
There was some,
rumblings of
I
that?
heard about it. I saw like some signage and stuff, but no, I wasn't anywhere where that would have been taking place as far as I could tell. No, like, but back to the sphere, like I only ever saw it from a distance and I just wasn't super impressed. But then we went to old Las Vegas and it's Fremont Street. And that was awesome. Like on Fremont Street, there's a TV screen that's 1 block wide and 5 blocks long, and that's kicks the sphere out of the water. Like, I don't care about the sphere. After I saw that, I was like, this TV is the size of like a small town, like a little like 1,500 person town in Illinois or something. I'm like, this TV screen's huge. The sphere's stupid. I don't care about it. But we never actually went up to it to look at it because that was fine enough with us. Plus, Fremont's where you see all the, like, when you think of, like, Fear the Loathing in Las Vegas and stuff, like, that's where that was taking place. That's the old strip. And, all the street performers and just all the weird, wacky stuff happening all over the place. Like, it's still like that. Probably a little less chaotic, but not too much less chaotic because while we were there, I was getting a drink and all of a sudden I heard like a loud thump sound next to me, and I looked over, and these two women were fighting, and each of them had a hold of each other's ponytails, and they're just like swinging their arms trying to punch each other, and their friends were trying to get them to stop, and they wouldn't, and so the cops came.
Well, somebody else was there placing bets.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw a lot of cool stuff there. Would I go back? Maybe. I don't know. It was really expensive.
Yeah, but
I think I might have already mentioned that, but I think Shauna was really good at like planning a lot of stuff ahead of time that was more a little bit more on the frugal side, to where we probably spent a lot less than we would have if we hadn't had stuff planned out so well. But every day we pretty much had an itinerary, and we stuck to it for the most part.
Yeah, it's best to plan it out. I mean, if there's a town that's designed to just find ways to take your money, that's that town. So go in with a plan. Good idea.
Yep.
Everything. Like, as soon as we stepped on Fremont, like, people came up to me and were like, "Hey, you want a picture with me?" And there's like people in costumes, like showgirls.
It's probably like it's like Hollywood Boulevard, where like the dirty Batman like attacks you when you get there. I hated that place so much.
There's a guy dressed up like
I guess Hollywood Boulevard, but also like Times Square. More like Times Square, I guess, with the dirty Batmans that chase you and want you to have pictures with them or whatever. But Hollywood could be like that too, whereas people in like these gross costumes being like, "Hey,
nobody was
to show you
like,
whoever you want me to show you where somebody lives or whatever."
Yeah, nobody was like really coming at us that much. There were signs all over the street that were like, no performer can require you to pay them for anything, and they're not hired by the city, and nor are they employees of any of the businesses on Fremont, and all this stuff. So there was like warnings everywhere, like, don't get scammed.
Don't give them money. Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, like, some of them deserve money. Like, I've got this video of this one guy like balancing on a giant stack of glasses with a bottle on top of it. He's bouncing on his head. It looked like, I don't know how he was doing it. It was real though. I was there.
Mm-hmm.
He was bouncing like a freaking top. It's crazy. So yeah, it was cool. I had a good time, and I mean, it's all spectacle and flashing lights, and don't go there if you have epilepsy, probably, because it's probably bad for you. We walked around a lot. It was kind of nice out. It was like in the 50s and 40s most of the time we were there. And yeah, that was my trip to Vegas. Now I'm back and happy to be at home, where I have my own stuff that isn't expensive at my house, and my cats.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, why don't we move on to our topic then?
Sure.
Which is 2024, the future of the world, or whatever. I just was like, it's just thought we'd just talk about games that we've been, I don't know, that we're thinking about for this year or whatever. I was like, I said my first purchase of the year obviously was Trombone Champ. I think, I don't know if you bought those 20 games last year or this year, John.
I bought them all last year. I haven't bought anything this year.
My first purchase was Trombone Champ. That was last week, obviously. the big game that I'm looking forward to that's coming out the soonest, but not soon enough, is the Dark Forces re-release from Night Dive Studios. For me, that's coming out at the end of February. I wish it was coming out sooner, but yeah, that's the one. That's like my definite 100% purchase. Which that's the end of February, so who knows what it'll be like then? Because we'll have seen a direct by then. I don't know. I saw like a post on Twitter that was like, Nintendo Direct expected to happen in February, and I posted and I was like, yeah, and the sky is also blue. Hashtag
No shit,
blue.
right? Yeah.
It's like hashtag no shit, whatever. It's kind of funny, but it's like, there's all kind of like I said at the beginning of the show. I don't know whether I keep that in or not, but there, it seems to be a whole lot of hype around whatever the next system is, because Nintendo has stuff planned like to a certain point and then it just kind of stops. But also, there's directs and all that. I mean, I feel like we kind of had this last year, kind of, where there's things we didn't know about later, So there's that sort of thing. But I kind of just like looked over like stuff within like the next couple months, like stuff that I'm excited for. Like I said, Dark Forces, that's the big one. I guess the next big thing that's like an honorable mention is like the Prince of Persia game, like Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown.
I'm interested.
Which has a demo coming out on Thursday, on the 11th, which is cool. I think it's like, I'm interested, but it's $50. Like, I'm not interested enough to pay $50 for a 2D Prince of Persia. I'm sorry.
For $50, I would expect that it is a like AAA Prince of Persia 2D game. Like for a 2D game, yeah, $50. It's got to be like great.
Well,
I'm in the mindset and the mode of playing cinematic platformers, so I'm especially intrigued right now. But I'm not going to pay $50 for it.
I mean, it's like I'm just saying, I'm not that big of a Prince of Persia fan. I'd rather they just re-release Sands of Time for $20, and I'll just buy that and play that. Just re-release the GameCube game. That's the one that I want, that I really want to play. But I know I guess there's a lot of hype around it. It's got that thing, like, I always hate it where they do this on the eShop, where they do like a deluxe edition that comes out like 5 days ahead of time, where it's like $70 or whatever. I think that's very predatory, and I wish they wouldn't do that to people. But yeah, there's like some deluxe bundle where you can get it days before it actually releases, which I'm like, that's kind of fucked. But whatever. That's my honorable mention, because I don't really care that much, but it's the next big release. But the most anticipated for me, probably, obviously, is a Ys 10 Nordics. Ys 10 came out in Japan last year, so it's got to come out this year, right? There's still no evidence anywhere about an English translation, but Ys 9 and 10 came out here. As I mentioned before, Ys 10 was designed specifically for the Switch, so it's like, I don't know. It would really surprise me if they didn't do an American release for it, and I'd really like to know when that is. So that's the big one, and obviously the other big game for me is Dragon Quest III HD 2D, whatever the fuck's happening with that. There was a tweet where Yuji Horii said that he was playing it or testing like in its final form or whatever. So it should be close to being done. I don't know. That game should come out at some point. But as far as like stuff like across the horizon that's like in the next couple months, like Princess Peach Showtime, I think that's like March or something, right? It's like kind of around the corner.
March.
Yeah, that's my first that I'm really intrigued.
That's your definite purchase or definite interest, whatever.
I don't know if I have any that's a definite purchase, but that would be the closest. I want to know more.
Yeah. There's that one. I didn't realize that the other big definite purchase for me that I'm really excited about is the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door re-release. But I didn't realize that has no time period. It just says 2024. Like it has no like season or month or anything. Like it has no idea on that. So
well, they just released the other one like a month ago. So
they released it in December, right? Was it in December or November? I don't even remember. It was one of those last months. I know, but I mean it's a re-release. Like they're churning out these re-releases. Well, because we got what's it? The Mario vs. Donkey Kong is right around the corner too. Like that's coming out like mid-February. So I mean, they don't care. They're just gonna roll out the re-releases
coming in the summer.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I'm really excited about that because I have Thousand Year Door, but my disc is scratched and I can't play it, and it makes me really sad. So I just want to buy that version of it because I know it's expensive, and I just want to play Thousand Year Door again. I really, really liked it when it came out, and I'm sad that I can't play it again like right now because I would if I could. So another one that I've actually already played, that the past me bought, so the future me can get it, is Ultra Pro Wrestling. That was the game that was based on the Nintendo 64 game. More supposed to be a little bit closer. Even though, now that we've seen kind of the newer graphics, it doesn't really look as much like the 64 one as it originally did, but they did send me, I got some more videos about like the creator wrestler and all that stuff, and they're adding all these factions and all these extra wrestlers and all that stuff, and I already paid for it, so I'll get it for free whenever it comes out, and I think I'm getting a physical version of it that'll come in an N64 box, which is pretty cool. So that's supposed to come out this year. I'm excited about that. Choo Choo Charles. It's this weird first-person shooter thing where you get on a train and you fight another train that has a face that chases you. Look at it. It's coming out like in a few weeks. It's like $20.
No, I was trying to figure out what the hell that was.
I'm totally buying that game.
So this game, it's been out on Steam for a while?
It's been out on other consoles, yeah. It was announced in one of the other directs, like maybe it was Summer Game Fest or something like that. I saw it on another thing. And I was like, ooh, that game looks cool. I'd play that. But now all of a sudden it's coming to Switch.
It got some, like, I'd say, middling to poor reviews. So for $20, maybe read up on it.
Yeah, it did get, I thought that Alex reviewed it, friend of the show from Super GG Radio. Or at least he played it and said some stuff about it. Yeah, I don't know. I know it got like a 4 from IGN. I'm just looking at that now. But still, weird train face. It looks kind of fun still to me. I don't know. We'll see where we're at on that at that moment in time. Oh, and another one that's actually really, really cool that we are friends with the developers of it. Hyperstrange. Postal Brain Damage finally has a release date. Do you remember that game? We talked about it years ago with Wojtek. And it's a first-person shooter that looks incredible. I mean, based on the old Postal game, which I have that on Switch too. But I've been wanting to play this game since I heard about it, and that had to have been like 2 years ago or something. I was going to try to figure out if I still have his contact info, see if maybe we can talk to him about this one. But it's coming out at the beginning of next month, so I mean that's a definite one for me too, because I remember there being really weird commercials of it. It kind of reminds me kind of like of Duke Nukem sort of thing, like balls to the wall, first-person shooter, old school action that I like so much. So that was one I kind of discovered just from looking through the eShop. I was like, oh shit. So there's that on there. And I guess I just threw it on here. 2024 goals. I don't know. I don't even remember what my 2023 goals were, but I'm pretty sure I didn't complete them. That's all I can say. I don't remember. We have to go back and listen to our January episode and see whatever we said we were going to beat. I'm sure I said I was going to beat like an SMT / Persona game, and I still have yet to do that. But my goal that I want to do is I want to beat an old Game of the Year game for me that I never beat. So, but I want it to be like earlier than last year, like anything that's pre-2023. So maybe I'll go back and try to beat Dragon Quest Builders 2, because that was on my list and I never beat it. Like stuff like that. Like stuff that was on my Game of the Year, but I never actually made it to credits. That's what I'd like to do, is just beat one of those older games that I was very hyped about, but never made it all the way through. Like, yeah, Dragon Quest Builders 2 comes to mind, or Valkyria Chronicles 4. Like, I really, really like that game, and I want to go back and beat that game, because that was pretty high on my list. Stuff like that. So that's kind of my goals. I don't know. Do you guys have anything in those categories that you want to talk about?
Well, I know.
I think that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know the only 2023 goal I remember having was that I was going to finish a Souls game finally, which I did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that you did.
I beat Elden Ring.
Yeah, I think you did the thing that you said you would do. So good for you. The SMT Persona thing was like my Souls thing, and I have a bunch of them, and they're very long, but I'd like to beat one of them someday.
I don't know if I have any specific goals. I guess I have the folder I've called Up Next or something like that, or no, I called it Backlog Up Next. So I have like 8 games in there that I intended to beat. It'd be cool to beat half of them. So let me say I want to beat 4 of those games that are currently in my backlog up next. One that I was looking at recently was Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I beat the first Ori game.
Yeah, you never beat the second.
I got 59% through the second game, according to the menu. So I got to get through that game and a couple others. Metroid Dread, I'd like to get through that. Oh
yeah, you should beat that one. That's a damn good game. I thought about making another folder that's like White Whale games, like games I want to beat before I'm dead. But that'll be pretty much the same as my other folder that says games I want to beat. So I mean, just the same stuff again. It's like I'm just making another folder with other games I want to play through. So it's kind of stupid because I think I already have like 4 or 5 folders that are all games to beat whenever, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
just
I kind of decided that one folder would just be 2 rows. That's it. No more. Like I can review that every once in a while and then add more games to it. But I'll never have more than 8 in there. And that's my motivation to beat those games. If I want to put more in the folder, I got to beat some of those games and clear them out.
Mm-hmm.
How about some Switch 2 predictions?
Well, hold on. Jeremy hasn't said anything at all about anticipated games or any of that stuff.
Yeah. So, my first purchase, I believe, was WarioWare Move It, because I think I bought it like last Tuesday, right before we recorded the Game of the Year episode. So that was technically this year, I do believe. But when it comes to games I'm looking forward to this year, the only one that really jumps out on the list that I've seen is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I don't even know what I like.
I
probably won't actually care.
I was gonna say you got to play the other one though, right? The first one before that one. You don't want to?
No,
you don't want to play.
No, this is a different one.
No, Final Fantasy Rebirth is the sequel to Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No, it's its own thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it still takes place in the story after what happened at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like with the same characters. Like it's the same game. Like Final Fantasy VII is being split into 3 games as a trilogy. From one to another to another.
It's the third part of that?
So this is the middle part of it.
I thought they already released the second part of that.
No, they did like an integrate thing that was in between the two of them. But no,
then I don't care anymore. I thought it was its own thing. Like I thought it was because like from what I've read, it was like.
I mean, I guess it could be. I guess. I mean, this is like. Because, Final Fantasy Remake basically only went so far. It just went, through Midgar, and then once you get to, the open world, is where Rebirth starts. So, this is... But you could probably play them without playing the other one, but they do go in order. Like, they are, a trilogy. So, I'm sure there's going to be, a dual pack or something with both of them. I thought about maybe getting Remake if it, dropped really low, like when Rebirth comes out or something like that, and just blowing through it, because I know it's not that long.
I've seen it very cheap.
Yeah, I would say maybe if it's $10 or something around the time of Rebirth.
I think it's on PS Plus.
Well, actually. It's probably on your version, not my version. I'm on the low level. I'm in the lowest level. But yeah. But I mean yeah.
And then the only other thing I could really think of because I was excited about when I heard about Panda Circus, which we don't know much about, but that's the guy who did Pony Island and Inscription, Dan Mullins. And there's no release date on that. It's just been sort of teased. But if it were to come out this year and it came to Switch, that would be great.
What about Hades 2?
Well, Hades 2 is definitely supposed to come out early access this year, but I doubt.
But you don't think it'll make it to consoles?
I don't think it'll make it to consoles because the early access is in the middle of the year. And Hades had been out for over a year, I think, when. It had been in early access for over a year before it came to consoles, I think. So.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. We'll see. If it did, I would love to play it, but I'm not playing the early access because I think it'll mess the game up for me.
Sure, yeah.
I'd rather play it when it's ready to rock, because that's the best way to do games.
And I'm sure it's gonna be on Switch.
But my goal for this year is I just want to keep better track of stuff because I don't remember anything later. I just need to come up with better organizational systems and stuff and not just for so I can remember later on in the year, but I want to actually get better at taking notes when I play games and stuff. So I have a better way of looking back at it because I didn't remember any of Baldur's Gate. I just played that a couple months ago and hardly any of it was familiar to me.
Well, I mean, you can play it completely differently though. Every time you go through it, so you may have done very different things this time.
Yeah, around. But the environments are the same.
Yeah, because I know people have varied experiences with it because there's so much you can do.
But if I had taken notes on let's say Xenoblade Chronicles X, maybe I could go back to that. But.
Oh yeah, that's kind of in the news that we shouldn't forget about. Well, I guess somebody said that it's one of those people. I was watching a video earlier from Game Explain where they were It wasn't this person, but they were like, person who's occasionally right said this. And I like that. I like that, saying that, referring that
Sounds
to
like a Hard Times article.
anybody who says anything. But yeah, there's more rumors about Xenoblade Chronicles X possibly getting a re-release on this system or Switch 2. And yeah, do it. It's do it. You know, Xenoblade has been doing fine. The thing, actually, the other news thing that I don't think's on there, but I don't want to forget, something really interesting that I'm super interested in is, I don't know if you saw that a bunch of stuff is going out of print. Like there's a bunch of Nintendo games that aren't getting reprinted because they think that they're bringing back Nintendo Selects, which I'm like, hell yeah, bring that back. I don't think we're going to get like the $20 selects because that would be awesome. I don't think Nintendo would ever go that low.
It'll be like 30.
But I think it'll be 40. You know, like how stuff only goes as low as 40 when it's on sale. I'm saying right now as my prediction that it'll be 40. That'll be how much the selects will be. And then maybe those will be on sale. Because I was like, if they would do like the $20 ones or whatever, I would love to just buy Donkey Kong, like, you know, Tropical Freeze or something like that out of there just to have it on Switch too, just because it's a really great game. You know, I played through most of it on Wii. Well, on Wii U, I got all the way to the last boss and didn't beat it. But yeah, stuff like that. And like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is one of them that, like, you know, that should be a lower price. People should play it, that sort of thing, and whatever, you know. Various stuff like that people can pick up. And might as well, like, if you're bringing in a new Switch too, just, you know, make a lot of these cheaper and just, you know, you sold enough. So I can do, you know, I don't know if that means we'll ever get a Mario Kart 8 Select version, but they should.
I'm trying to remember, like, back when it was on Wii and they had the Nintendo Selects, right? It would be, the base price was $50 and then the Selects were $20. So I think it would make sense for them to go to $30, you know, versus the normal sale price of $41.99.
I think the base price was $60 on Wii, wasn't it?
I mean, it
was $50.
The games were $50 on Wii. That was like the regular price was $50, and then they went up to $60, and now they'll probably go up to $70 after that. But I mean, they were different prices. Well, because I remember the what was it? I guess the 3DS ones were like $20, or then maybe or later they were. But yeah, according to Wikipedia, the GameCube ones were $30, were $29.99. Were the first Nintendo Select ones, but they were Nintendo Select games for like Super Nintendo. Like I remember getting
Player's Choice, yeah.
Player's Choice, yeah, that's what it was called. I knew it had a different
Play
name.
Aloud series.
But they had I remember getting Super Star Wars as a Player's Choice game for much cheaper, for like 10 or 15 or something like that in the 90s. So
yeah,
that was pretty awesome.
I would say they're going to 30 for Player's Choice.
And when I bought just the 3DS for Christmas, I bought them two 3DS games for $20, and that was New Leaf and Donkey Kong Country Returns, because they were both selects for $19.99 for 3DS games, which I thought was a wonderful price. I think I ended up buying I bought the Ocarina of Time remake for $20 or something like that, because it went to that. Like, this little bunch of them towards the end for that price, which is great. So, but just because of like how nothing is ever on sale really for Nintendo stuff, I'm guessing 40, because that is how low things get when they go on sale for the holiday prices. I'm thinking it's just going to be like $40, and then maybe it'll go less for holiday sales or whatever. That seems like a very Switch Nintendo move to me. But if you don't have anything other anticipated stuff that actually, talking about Hades reminded me that I'm highly anticipating World of Goo 2. Because that game was announced at the Game Awards. Probably one of the only cool things that came out of that. So, that's cool. I'm excited about that. That's a definite purchase for me. Love World of Goo 1. Hopefully it has as epic of a soundtrack. But yeah, let's talk about Switch 2. What does everybody think about Switch 2? Or Super Switch, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it. Is it happening this year?
Definitely happening this year. I'm calling November. Well,
it seems to be, you know, other people, whatever, consumer, whatever the fuck they call themselves.
Analysts.
Analysts, they seem to, yes, I said it that way. They seem to be like, I don't know, being like, oh, it'll come out this year. I mean, that's pretty much anybody can say that. Like, you don't need a degree or any sort of smarts to say that. Like, the Switch has been out, it will be out for 7 years as of March. So, I mean,
it's time.
And it was long in the tooth when it was released. So, It's maybe we need something else.
And we probably would have been seeing more stuff about it earlier, if not for the year of the 2020 year.
Yeah. Well, and also, there was now we get this thing all over again, like the Switch Pro and all that, where, the chips, and then we had the OLED, and, I don't know.
It's just going to continue to be like, it's happening, and then eventually it will, and they'll be like, yeah, we told you so.
Yep.
But this year makes sense to me. I feel it in my gut. I also feel it in my brain because, it's been a long time since the Switch came out. I would think they would probably wait till the holiday season, but maybe not. Maybe they'll do it in the summer. Or
I don't know when was the last time they did a summer release. I think they did
Switch 1. Switch
well,
1 was in
March.
spring.
Oh, that was March.
It was in spring, but still.
That's spring. Different season.
I know.
Like
I know.
I don't know when the last time they did.
September.
Yeah.
I think September makes more sense than like November.
Well,
if they're going to go to fall, I think like historically GameCube was fall, Wii was fall, Wii U was fall, wasn't it?
I mean, everything is fall unless you have a bad system before called the Wii U.
Right. Specifically, like November 18th is a famous Nintendo release day. So I think they're going to do November again.
I think they would release it before that if they're going to do it. I don't know though.
I do too.
The original NES, the Famicom, was released in the summer, July 15th, 1983. So there you go, in Japan. So
I don't know. I mean, it makes sense.
Was a summer release. Bring it back.
It makes sense. It's going to be iterative. I hope it's going to hopefully Nintendo's finally just going to let you just keep all your games from before, move them over to the new console, do whatever they got to do.
Yep.
Where they won't let you play them on the old console anymore, probably. But maybe they will. Probably not, though.
Well, I think
they probably will.
I think you'll still be able to play your games on the old console.
As long as they're physical games.
I mean, they'll do. I'm sure they'll do. Maybe they'll do like some of them will work on both, some of them will only work on the other ones. As far as new stuff, but I mean, your old stuff should still work on your old console and all that. If you don't get a new one. Yeah, I just want I just want what most people want is I just want a Switch that plays the games that are already on there better, So that would give you a reason to go back and play some of those games that, as much as you liked playing them on there, maybe you would be more, you'd be more enticed to play them if they ran better than they do right now.
I'd say more heavy duty Joy-Cons with Hall effect joysticks. That would be cool.
Well, I think that's a guarantee because
maybe do like some like aluminum Joy-Con or do something just a little tougher.
Well, they did. I mean, they did do there was a patent for the Hall effects that showed up that Nintendo did. So, I mean, I do think we're going to see those because they can't do the drift.
And obviously, I think it should just be OLED out of the gate. And I don't think the screen needs to be bigger. The screen's fine, in my opinion. I heard
rumors of 125 hertz for the screen, which people are saying that it could possibly do like VR better. I guess they never played the Labo VR. They don't know how incredible that was. I do.
I mean, that was
we all do. We bought it. It was the best VR that ever existed for $40. That's for sure. So
the best VR that ever existed for $40.
For $40, yes,
I'll agree to that.
You have to include the for $40 part.
Yeah.
For $40.
Plus, you get to build it yourself. That's fun.
Exactly, and you could drink whiskey and do it with your friend at the Midwest Gaming Classic, and then record people talking about it.
Let have Chris Kohler disparage it.
Yeah, that was a fun episode where we went and talked to everybody about it.
My number one request for Switch 2, I just want every feature that's considered to be a modern standard on the other consoles to be present on Switch 2.
Like, what is that? Voice chat?
Like
party
voice chat? It invites, for every in-game invites for every game. Dare I say achievements, all that stuff, all the stuff that's just like no brainer. You think it belongs on anything you'd call a modern console. Put it on Switch 2. Switch 2, please.
I just want it to have. I know it won't be exactly the same as like the PlayStation 5 and all that. I just want it to have a similar like snappy load time thing. Like that's what I would like to see. I know it's not going to be the same exact graphics, but if they had a, whatever thing where it would load quicker would be great. That'd be a great thing on there. Even though a lot, depending on what it is, the load timing isn't that long, but it would be. I just hear those stories of how quick everything loads on PS5, and that's like the one thing that makes me want one. It's no loading. Loading's for losers. Get rid of it.
Doesn't matter what you're loading. Trey wants it.
I want it to not load. No loading.
True.
Snappy loading.
I want there to be a sensor bar.
For Wii, for Wii games.
Hey,
Somehow.
not a bad.
Just bring the
request
sensor
there.
bar back. And at
Yeah.
this point, it probably doesn't even need to be a huge thing. You could probably just put some little tiny dilly dop on top of your TV and it works.
Yeah. It could be like I have this one over here that's completely wireless. I don't know if you ever made, you can make your own sensor bar out of like candles. Like I've done that.
Of course.
That's pretty easy. Or the old, the Wii U controllers had sensor bars at the top too. So you could use this as a sensor bar as well. So there was like a fake, there was an April Fool's Game Explain thing that I really wish it was called like the Switch 4U or whatever, or the Switch 4KU. And it's basically two switches on top of each other that like clamshell, and you open them and you separate them and you put one in the dock and you hold the other one. So you have like dual screens like the Wii U. I want that. Somebody make that. Nintendo specifically, not somebody. Nintendo, you make that. That's what I want. I want that thing where it has two screens and you separate it and you can play together, each with your own screen. Give it to your friend. You got multiplayer right there, and you put one screen in the dock so you can make Mario Maker levels properly on the controller, with the stylus and all that. That's the future right there. And you got a clamshell. You can finally like close it to where you won't have to worry about the screen getting scratched as much and all that. And then it can bring all of the 3DS games on there. We can do like a DS, 3DS, Nintendo Switch Online thing where we can have two screens. It'll be wonderful. That's what I want. I want a 2-screen Switch 2. Switch DS.
I want screens on all of the controllers too. I want just screens everywhere.
I want them all to have detachable memories that you can play on their own, like a Dreamcast. I want that.
Yeah.
No, not really. I just want it to make it to where we can play 3DS games and DS games, and you can re-release them through Nintendo Switch Online like that, and it's easier to do and easy to do, like you could on Wii U, but you don't have to pay for it. That would be really cool, like an additional thing.
What if you like take your Joy-Con with you, and it like you could do like side quests on your stick somehow, or maybe it had like a you could just use it for fitness things.
It has like a travel,
like
a pedometer or whatever you call it, like where it knows.
Well, yeah, maybe like a
went.
pedometer,
Yeah.
but maybe they add like a vitality sensor to it too as well, or something like that, where you could take it, have more functionality for it. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what Nintendo could do that would surprise me or make
got
me
something.
excited. at this point.
The old vitality sensor. Bring back that thing that that they just kept talking about but never used for anything. Just bring that.
I got
bring that
something.
back.
This could solve all the screen woes. What if the Nintendo Switch 2 app was actually a useful app where it could become a second screen?
That's hilarious.
Like seriously, honestly, like we want 2-screen gaming. Everybody's got a screen. We have no shortage of screens in this world. Everybody's got multiple screens. Just make that app functional to where I can use my iPad that I'm looking at right now as the second screen. Simple solution. Just make that app useful.
And well, then you need some sort of attachment where you can attach it to your controller. Because I'm not like I want it attached to the controller. Make it to where
Yeah, we've all got every controller has Bluetooth nowadays. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily need to physically attach it, but
I want it physically attached. I don't want it separate. I want it in front of me so I can feel like I'm playing a 3DS. That's what I want. I want it
Nintendo
attached.
partners with the
The backbone.
the backbone.
That would be
isn't it?
cool. Yeah, I already have one, so just make it work like that, and I can use the backbone on my phone and play Switch with it. I already use it to play PlayStation 4, so yeah, do that. That would be cool.
Yeah, I really would like to use that. Actually, have the app be useful. I think there's, they like a lot of things. Nintendo put one foot in, but didn't jump all the way in. I think having a useful app could solve so many of the problems as far as making things a bit more modern.
Yeah, like the only time I would ever use it, I think I used it once, like with either one of you or both of you, where you just want to voice chat but don't want to deal with, using your computer or whatever, I guess. You kind of use it like that, but it doesn't even work that well. If you're just talking to like one person, you might as well just call them and just talk to them through your Bluetooth headset or whatever, or or use Discord or whatever, like we do for the stream. It's like
I'd also like to be able to check in on my profile remotely the way that you can on Xbox and PlayStation. Like every once in a while, I'm just like out there in the car somewhere, and I'm like, oh, yeah, how many hours have I played on this game? I'd like to be able to like pop in and see all that information.
I mean,
or see who's playing online right now.
I mean, you can though. Like I actually do use the Nintendo Switch Online app regularly just to see who's playing without turning my Switch on. I do use it all the time for that.
Yeah, I'd like to,
and it'll show it
just
to
reliably
you.
Pop in and see every bit of information regarding my whole Nintendo experience on the app.
I mean, I don't think it will show you your times for gameplay, and it won't show you your friends' times for gameplay, so that sucks. But I use it all the time to see who's playing, and I use it to spy on Jeremy too on my PlayStation 1, so I can see what game you're playing. So I'll be like, "Oh, what's Jeremy doing tonight? Oh, there you are. You're playing Dragon Quest Builders." Because I do that too on that one. They both work the same way. Spy on your friends, see what they're doing. When they tell you they can't hang out, you see what game they're playing. But no, they could update it with more stuff. Yeah, basically all I really use it for is just to see what people are doing, or see if anybody's playing, if anybody's playing anything or whatever. And we totally spy on each other too. Like today, I was playing AEW, and I got a text from Shake being like, "Hey, you're playing AEW. How's Tony Storm or whatever?" So we do the same. Like we totally do that. Like where I'm like, "Hey, you're playing the game. Let's play online right now." And it's like, okay, fine. So yeah, but it would be nice. There would be more stuff to it. But yeah, I don't use anything aside from just spying on people through there. But yeah, I really don't know what else they would do. I mean, there has to be some weird Nintendo thing, as there always will be. There needs to be some sort of gimmick thing. But I mean, do you like you want the Joy-Cons to stay? Like, you still want detachable sides and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'd still like all that. And in fact, I think there's some question as to whether or not motion will be a major function, or even any function of Switch too. I hope that motion sticks around.
It should still be there, just for the fact of gyroscopic gaming for first-person shooting games. It's really good, or any sort of third-person action thing. The gyroscopic gaming thing, aiming should be in everything.
Yeah, like Jeremy said, bring back the what you call the sensor bar, so we can have proper pointer controls. Keep motion controls. Don't throw it away. It's part and parcel to the Nintendo legacy nowadays, and I think you just need to have it. Don't throw it away just because a bunch of people say, we don't use it or whatever. A lot of people use it. I mean,
Jeremy was just talking about earlier, like playing WarioWare Move It. You see all these, like, it's just like, oh wow, like they could have done a lot of really cool stuff with motion control that nobody does, but it still like makes the Switch feel kind of young again, where it's like, oh man, look at all these cool things you could do if you did, But that's always like what those WarioWare games were. It's like, what look, the sky is the limit here,
Yep. So it's got to stick around so we can have Wii virtual console games. Like bring back those Wii games, not virtual NSO games. Make Wii NSO with motion controls, and keep the motion controls on the new system so that we can actually do that.
And then maybe we'll finally get Mario Galaxy 2 on the system. They could put it on Nintendo Switch Online, since it didn't come out on the Mario game that you can't even buy anymore.
They did say they were going to release it, didn't they, at some point?
They never did. Never said anything about Mario Galaxy 2.
Oh, I thought they did.
Specifically. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that they would, but they just didn't.
Here's another thing that would get me. I mean, I'm going to buy it regardless, but this would get me really, really excited about buying it.
Have it automatically sent to your house without even doing anything.
Do that, please. And also, Nintendo, just do that for free. I would like that. No, also, I would like, not only would I like every every current NSO game ready to go day one, I want them to just hurry the fuck up and do like a huge swath of new consoles. Like every console that's certainly every Nintendo console that's missing. Day one, give me Wii, give me Wii U, give me GameCube.
You already got Wii U. every Wii U game is pretty much already represented, aside from Xenoblade Chronicles X and Devil's Third. We pretty much already have all of them on the Switch. You just have to buy them again.
But yeah, hear what
I
I'm
really
saying.
wish
though,
I'd bought
you know.
Devil's Third.
I would like
I bought
all
it
that
for
stuff
$20
available and
online.
ready to go. I would like just all the consoles ready to go. Throw some DS and 3DS, however you got to figure that out. Make that happen. And let's stop doing this like slow drip dry of every Nintendo game in existence. Like I was tired of that back in the Wii days. You have all this stuff, just like unleash it, put it all out there. If not every game, just something from every system.
What I was saying is, number one, I bought Devil's Third. I have it for Wii U. I bought it for $20 online way back when, because it was available for that, and I liked that game. I thought it was a great game.
It's worth a pretty penny now.
Oh yeah, well, the physical one. I bought it digitally, but I just really wanted to play it. But even then, it was still expensive. It's a stupid third-person action game.
It was like an exclusive to like GameStop or something, wasn't it?
I don't know. I mean, it was rare to find. But as far as like the drop of games, like I actually like that better than them dropping everything at once, because it's dropping everything at once is the same as like using emulators and ROMs. It's like, here's 500 games. Cool. I won't play any of them. I'll go play something else, because it's too much at once. I want everything to be like drip fed, because then I'll play like Jet Force Gemini or whatever, just because that was the one that came out that week. I would never play that if it came out with far superior games at the same time. Like, I prefer like the drop, because then if they just give me 100 games at once, I'm not going to fucking play them, and you're not going to see the unique ones in there. Like, I prefer where they give you these like smaller ones, because you're not going to play like Fighter's History or whatever weird game within these other, within these like Perfect Darks and Mario Sunshines or whatever. You just won't play those. So it's better to like, I like it where it's, but at the same time, yes, I want all the Nintendo Switch Online that's available right now to be available on Switch too, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like the where they. I wish there was a little bit more of a an actual time to it, or like a map or something as to when things come out, or a specific date or whatever. Like PlayStation Plus, like every month you get new stuff. Like Nintendo, it's like, who knows? Like sometime, like maybe 2 weeks in a row, maybe like not for 2 months or whatever. Mm-hmm. I wish there was kind of like more of a method to their madness, is what I was going to say. Like where maybe we have a day, or like maybe we have a specific like week or whatever. Like at least say like, all right, it's going to happen like in the middle of this month, every month or something like that. But you don't know what it is. Like I want some sort of like, I like to see some sort of map to it. But I don't want everything all at once. Like that's just too much. That's sensory overload. I won't play it. I won't play it all.
What I'm saying about the drip is, I'm including the fact that this has been going since 2006 now, for 18 years.
Well, yeah, but I don't want them to.
What I want them to do is,
I don't want them to start all over again.
What I want them to do is to do every game that has ever been available on, say, way back to Wii, Virtual Console, whatever. Like, I want those again on the current system, like as soon as possible, and then from there, like, pick up the pace a bit. Like I agree with you on not getting so much thrown at you at once, but I do want like everything that was available 18 years ago ready to go for Switch 2, or within the first year of Switch 2. Like, get up to speed on what you've already given us, and sold us on 5 different systems now or whatever. And then once you've done that, give me like a regular stream of 5 to 10 games a month.
I think 10 is too much a month. I want less. I want less than that. I want 5 or less a month. But I mean, you're not going to get everything that was ever available on Virtual Console, because those are from other companies that want money. Like, as far as Nintendo produced stuff, we have most of those things already on there, without Zoda's Revenge. Like that's like the only thing we don't have from NES, or like Mario Galaxy 2. Stuff like that. Yeah, sure, I would love to see those on there, but I mean, like asking for everything from Wii, there's no fucking way in it. There's no way that will ever happen.
Absolute best to give everything that we've had previously. So
they're not going to put it on Nintendo Switch Online though. Like the other companies won't buy that because they'd rather sell it to you as a collection and then you'll pay more for it. You know, they're not going to put it on Nintendo Switch Online. It's like here's $2 a month for this.
Some of them have
like Jellicoe. Well, there's one Castlevania game on there. The one on Genesis.
We got Bloodlines and yep.
There's one There's one on Genesis. Yep. That's it. And there's the Game Boy. There's one Game Boy one.
There's other third party games.
Yeah, Jellicoe games.
On NSO.
Yeah, there's Jellicoe games on there. Fighter's History, those games that nobody else will buy anywhere else. But they're on there.
I would like them to do their best to play catch up. Is all I'm saying, so that we can actually have a proper start to, a virtual console NSO on Switch 2, without waiting years for something that we already got back in 2011.
So pretty much just put DS and Wii games on there. So I think that's the only thing that we don't have. Well, Game Boy Advance games. No, they're already on there. But the ones that were on Wii U that aren't on here yet. Like fucking, like the F-Zero games, damn it. Put those in there. I am kind of mad they aren't on there. Maximum Velocity and GP Legend are not there. But I think we've said enough on this. Is there any other news to say that we haven't said, or can we call it?
Probably the biggest one is just that 13-year-old kid beat Tetris for the first time on NES.
So how do you beat Tetris? Is it like the Game Boy one where you have to get to the rocket?
He got to a kill screen because he maxed out all the digits.
Oh,
at least that's what it looked like.
There's no official end to the game.
Oh, okay. I was curious because
crash the game.
The Game Boy one, you get the rocket, you get to the rocket, and that's how you. That's what I would do. Well, I do it on the where it's like the limit, and you have to get it under the line or whatever. But also, you can get to the rocket on just the regular single player, and I considered that the end. So I mean, I don't know as much about the NES one than the Game Boy one because I was like, is there a rocket on that?
No, the NES one does have the rocket, but there's not an official end to Tetris. Yes, that is the best you can get. You get a full space shuttle. It's actually a space shuttle, I think.
Yeah.
But no, I'd say the kid just basically learned how to do kind of what Billy Mitchell and Steve Wozniak, or not Wozniak, whatever his name, Steve Wiebe and all that were doing with Donkey Kong, where they get to the kill screen. When you get to the kill screen, or I think Pac-Man, was it Pac-Man 256 or whatever that what game was that was based off the kill screen? They based the whole game kind of off of that.
Yeah,
that's a thing that's just an old arcade thing, and this kid overwhelmed the cartridge, and it ran out of digits. Think of in Mario 1 when you get too many lives and it starts to show up as weird symbols or whatever.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of the same thing. It's just running out of the normal digits in its memory, and it starts to glitch out. Then eventually it freezes. And that's what the kid got it to do. And he was live on Twitch. And I saw a follow-up interview. So there was a little bit of controversy. So I can't remember if it was a BBC reporter that made some kind of off-the-cuff report, that kid needs to go play outside more. And, there was a lot of backlash towards that.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what it took to do that.
It's like fuck you, dude. It's like somebody gets a new high score at a golf tournament or something, and you're like, oh, fuck you. You should have been sucking dick at a business or something, and instead of learning how to play it's stupid. It's just another skill. Fuck off, dude.
Anyway, that reporter did receive a lot of backlash and ended up issuing a formal apology and everything. But so I saw another news article. I can't remember. It was one of the big ones, NBC or something, on YouTube the other day. And they were interviewing him, and they made a point, his mom made a point, and they made a point to be oh yeah, he loves riding his bike and he's outside all the time. But, sometimes he plays Tetris, and what he does, he sets the world record, he's just a normal kid that also happens to play a lot of Tetris.
I mean,
he's really good at it.
They really should put that mentality to bed. Fucking kill that shit. Stop being you did this, you're a loser. You don't do anything else. I mean, you should say that for everybody else. Anybody who hits a fucking home run. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're a loser. You spent too much time playing fucking baseball. Go do something else. Playing
football.
Yeah, or whatever.
Should have been sucking dick at some business.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, you should work for a corporation and have no hopes for your life whatsoever. Is what you should be doing. Get you in the system.
But yeah, you got to see that clip because they bring the kid on, and then of course they're we have somebody who wants to talk to you, and it's it was first it was Hank Rogers. They came on and congratulated him, and then Alexei Pachinov came on and congratulated him. And they're like, "You did a great thing, kid. Like, you just gave him this really high praise." And I can't imagine. Can you imagine if like Miyamoto called you up and was like, "Good job on beating Mario the best way that's ever like."
Yeah, right.
Hold on. There's somebody on the other line. I'll patch him.
Yeah,
right. I was getting goosebumps just watching this. Like, that kid's like, there's just nowhere higher up that kid's gonna ever go in their life. I don't think
it's the end. That's your big. That's your. You need to beat some other game that hasn't been beat.
Fucking Alexei Pachinov calls you to tell you you did a good job in the game he created on mainframe, like in 1984 or 85, whatever year it was.
Yeah,
in the USSR.
That's crazy.
And this kid was born 13 years ago, and no one else had done it since, like before or since.
Good for you, dude. The kid's name is handle online is Blue Scooty, so congratulations.
That's the end, Scooty. It's just down from here. Nothing else you can do better than that. I don't know. He'll probably start a podcast and get plenty of patrons or whatever.
Or get to be like a guest of honor at Tetris tournaments or something.
Or be like be one of the new highest Twitch streamers or something like that.
Maybe they'll add him as the new block to the new Tetris game.
Because wasn't it I guess like he did it and then somebody else did it, right? Like a
couple other people did it and actually got the kill screen earlier than he. I guess there was an opportunity where he could have got the kill screen and he missed it, but nevertheless he was the first to reach a kill screen in Tetris.
And I did see how he plays, and it's
a while later.
Absolutely insane the way he holds the controller.
Yeah, they do rolling.
I've seen that where they like hold it like with. Like differently, right? Instead of like this.
Well, like he like sits on the floor and like he's holding it between his feet. You know, he's like a flexible kid, so he's like he's like using his whole body to like keep the controller in place while he's doing this rolling stuff.
Because it's
absolutely crazy.
I've seen people hold it different ways, but cool. All right, yeah. Congrats, Blue Scooty. You've been blue scooting all over Tetris.
May your scoots be blue.
I don't think I have the NES Tetris. Or no, maybe I do. Maybe didn't you give it to me, Jeremy? I might have got it from you.
I think so, because I had multiple copies of it. I think I did give you one.
I'll get started on getting to that kill screen. But no, I think we're good on this episode. Thanks everybody for listening to episode 404. If you want to hear more of us, go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast, and you can hear bonus episodes. We just did an episode about the best swan songs of various consoles on there. If you heard us talking about stuff we want on Nintendo Switch Online, there's definitely one on there that I talk about that should be on there in the future. I would definitely love to see the Wii Virtual Console stuff that was on Wii U brought to Switch. That'd be really cool. Especially the really obscure one that I talk about on that episode, which I'm not going to say by name, but you could find out if you listen to it. If you donate to us on Patreon. And, keep a lookout for, the YouTube top 10 video that'll be up at some point, and the WRT radios and all that stuff. I'm working on it. They'll be out soon enough, I'm sure. And also you can catch our Wrestle Chat every Monday night at 11:30 at twitch.tv/NintenDomain podcast. I'm sure we'll be doing stuff with Tony Storm next week, since she is now on the game, and anticipate whatever season 3 will bring us for Fight Forever and all that stuff. So you can check that out there. Or you can find us on Twitter at myself at Nintendo_domain and at Jeremy at JMaxStack and all that stuff. YouTube.com/NintenDomain podcast. I think I said it earlier. Or join our community through Facebook. Whatever. Look up NintenDomain. You can find us all over the place. But we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jerry McCaskey.
John Nitter.
And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya!
Let's play some Tetris, motherfucker.
card. Think about the future.